Could you tell us what the court had heard about who Henry and Vickram were as people?
Uh, we did not hear much about the Vikram. We hear most of the Henry, how wonderful boy he was. He's not racist because his ex-girlfriend father was half Jamaican or something like that. We only hear about the Henry. We not hear much about the Vikram, which bit annoy me because was been couple of statement about how easy Vikram.
So there were statements about Vickram in a negative way. Is that right? Or
No,
no?
I don't
Nothing.
think so. I don't think so because even I know him and I know what person he is. That's why, it's a bit sad. I know it's a bit sad also for the family of Henry. This is
Of course.
100%, but this is now problem of two family, which also Vikram's family is now they got much problem because even the protest outside them's house and everything, they just want target his family, but
So, because his mother is, of course, in prison now as being an accessory to hiding the weapon, the sentencing for the brother and the father, did they actually get arrested or they just got fines or something for having all of the weaponry in the house? I can't remember.
not they've been arrested on I think same day when everyone
Yes.
was arrested,
Yes.
and they had case I think last week, but they changed the date in the court.
Okay.
And this
So
is same,
there's.
I don't know if you read or no, but them's, I think you say Celester, he's also Sikh, and when he's leave the court or he was been into the court, people was start shout at him like, go back to your country.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, it's a
This is
tough
in a
job.
newspaper. If you want, you can search on is the Daily Echo.
Okay. Let's look it up.
There was right there about this.
So, case. Okay, we'll look that up in the meantime. So, when it comes to the video evidence, because you mentioned a couple of days ago that, the first thing I see of Daily Echo is, family. There was a statement from the wider Digwa family, or is that something unrelated? On the 2nd of June, they said the wider family of a man who unalived 18-year-old student in Southampton has released a statement apologising to the victim's family, saying we're deeply sorry. So they've given an apology about the pain that has caused to the Nowak family, and then they've had to endure. We love Vickram. We will continue to love him. That love does not stand in opposition to the sorrow we feel for the Novak family. Both are real and both will remain with us for the rest of our lives. We would give anything to turn back time so the path of both Henry and Vickram never crossed that night. We cannot change what has happened. We just hope that no further pain is caused in its name. We apologise to the Sikh community for our son's actions, which have unfairly brought the community into disrepute. We ask that this tragedy is not used by anyone to inflame division or hostility towards any community. We now ask for privacy as we come to terms for what lies ahead. And then it lovely ends with saying that sentencing Vickram at Southampton Crown Court, Judge William Mosley, I've got issues with this judge, said that the 23-year-old showed callous regard for the well-being of Mr. Novak, continuing to make films of suffering and ignoring much of his desperation at being unalived, which was actually true though. But yes, I have a big problem with him. So yes, if we can talk about the video evidence, because we know, of course, in the public that the judge had seen some of it. Well, of course, the judge has seen all of it, but yourselves in the court had only seen partial parts of it. What was, and also CCTV, if there was anything like that.
I was, yeah, I was see all the CCTV, meaning like when he was the first one when he was been in a lift. Then I think after this was been some party at home, and after the show when he's went to the shop, and after was in a pub, and when he's walking on the side to the nightclub, and when he's come back, when he's crossed the road and everything.
Okay.
Then after video when he start recording to send to his friend, like when he hitting the mirror car mirror with the watch and start talking to the car, like, and the last was from the Henry was been when he started recording the Vickram and tell him, say you are Batman, say you are Batman.
So do you believe that you saw most of what was on Henry's phone? Or not enough of what was on Henry's phone?
I don't know really, like they was showing what they have to show. I don't know what the see them's side, but they only show to everyone what I just said.
Yeah. And what about the
I don't know
footage
if they
from...
got any more videos or anything.
And what about the footage from Vickram's phone? Do you believe that you saw everything from there? Or you don't know about that one either? Did you see anything from
I was
Vickram's
see
phone?
the foot. I was see the footage from start when Henry was climbing on a beam.
Okay.
This is the when was video start when he's climbing on a beam.
Okay. So I think though from what we've read from the court's notes or from what I read from the judge's notes is that there were only parts from the Snapchat videos. Like, was there any explanation why certain bits were cut off? Because like there was some certain speech that was cut off. You're a burr. It was very chopping and changing. Was there any explanation from the defense as to why that was? Do you remember or do you know?
Not. I not remember now what they say. I know was been cuts, yeah, of course, but I cannot say what they say because I not remember this. I don't want to make my story, like
Yes.
I not remember.
Okay. So if there was, okay, let me think about this. I think I did read though that the jury was shown certain things, but the judge had seen the rest. Am I getting that wrong? The judge had seen some things and the jury
I
had seen
know
other
that
things.
I don't know about the jury, but I know some of evidence or I don't know the videos we cannot see. Only the jury or judge can see. Yes.
Right, okay. So the jury have seen everything pretty much, do you think? And the
Uh,
and the rest of the
I think.
uh-huh.
I think.
Okay. Do you know why there would have been a reason why the public gallery did not get to see the rest of the footage? Do you know the reason?
Not sure, not sure. For some of the video they say, oh, if the families want to leave to not watch, then they can leave. But everyone will stay there and they will see everything.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I try to remember what video was been to, but I not remember now. Really.
That's okay. So were you shown the videos in a timeline? So from when Henry was being social with his friends, etc., to the interaction that he was filming with Vickram, to Vickram's filming him, and then to the police coming? Was it shown in chronological order or in a different order? Do you remember?
No, I think that they're showing like, yeah, from the first one to the last one.
Okay. Do you think that there was a mood change or a directional change in the trial when the body cam footage was shown? Obviously showing Henry being handcuffed while being injured, and was that actually played in full in court? The body cam footage.
The footage was shown to the public, I say, when they was say he's guilty. That time everything was being the same day was being protest, same day was police talking, same day they released the footage. This was been everything in the same day.
Wow. Okay. So they obviously wanted to
But
capitalize
my
on people's
question
emotions.
is, yeah, my question is why they not release the Snapchat video?
Yeah.
They release everything, but not the Snapchat video.
Well, yes, exactly, because it, of course, would have given people a different impression and actually seen in visual that Henry was the instigator and the antagonizer. And of course, they don't want to show that. Yeah, so I think that's a very, very interesting point. And I remember you saying that the other day, that everything seemed to just turn on a dime on the same day. And I remember you mentioning that even the judge's attitude also changed on the same day as well, and you said that maybe you thought that it was the media attention or media pressure that maybe made him change his his
Yeah,
behavior.
because just day before them's decision, they start posting the pictures of Judge and Vickram, and they just write like, "Oh, Vickram's family paid to Judge for, to be on his side or something," and the all pressure, everything, TV, newspaper, everything.
It all came at once. There was no sort of
Yes.
gradual, which of course gives a lot of pressure onto the judge himself. So it said that the prosecution was presented video evidence and showing Vickram climbing over a fence. Did you ever get to see that video? Was that something that just the jury had seen?
No,
About
yeah.
You saw that one?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So in that video, if you remember from what I've read, it says that the video evidence showed Vickram climbing over the fence during the altercation with his hair still being securely tied up in a tight bun. However, by the time the police arrived at the scene, his hair had intentionally been let down. So this is, of course, the conflict of understanding is whether his turban was actually pulled off in the altercation or if it was dislodged or etc. etc. Do you remember seeing his turban on in any video and then off in another video? Do you remember any of that?
Not much on a video, not much you see the Vickram. I don't know, but we have to remember that him turban got 3 layers. And
3 layers.
it's yes,
That's
yes.
interesting.
And the band, like they say, is very tight.
Yes.
Then no, because the band is not tight. It's not tight. Even when you do every day this, you not tight your band like tight or use the, oh my goodness, I forget the, you not use any, I don't know how you say,
Bollywood,
like rubber band, I don't know.
Bollywood,
like,
do you wear, Bollywood is a Sikh gentleman.
you just tight with the hair, like, you just make a loose band. It's not tight band.
So I know how.
Bollywood, your signal
when
is
you tie a turban,
your
there are 2
signal's
ways,
not.
because I'm a Sikh Punjabi. So when I go back to India, right? Get it hear me now, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. So when I go to the Gurdwara in India, it's basically, you do layer by layer and then you tie it. So one is like a traditional turban, which is worn by every Sikh Punjabi guy, whether they are baptized or not. So it's tied about 7 times, 7 to 8 layers you will have. And as the lady mentioned, the 3 layers is just like, it's like a loose one, when you are out and about and doing like normal activities and all that stuff, it just kind of, relaxes your head and also it's not like very tight. I know where she's coming from. Carry on.
Because when looking at the forensic notes, they did mention that they didn't find any of Henry's fingerprints on the turban, also on his knife or kirpan or anything like that. One thing I found really interesting is that they didn't actually take any forensic DNA from Vickram's body himself. So this is still a physical altercation. Of course, Vickram did say that Henry made contact with his eye. Forensics, or they should have actually taken some sample from that area to show that actually he was being as attacked as he said he was, right? I think that's a big part that was actually missed.
Turban was being punched. Turban, he's not pushed his turban, he just punched in the turban. And yes.
So that does come into question about how much DNA transfer would be in that situation. Of course, if you've got your fingerprints, that's where the prints come from, so it would be pulled off. But if it's punched off, and like you said, it's loose, then it would come off very easily, and you probably wouldn't get any physical DNA contact. Yeah. That makes sense.
And the turban is like 7 meters long. It's not like little one, and this is 7 meters long. He's even show at the court, because they say, "Oh, can you take off your turban? Can you show us how you tied up everything?" Yeah, he was show everything.
So Vickram had to do a demonstration of how he put his turban on.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Not like he just have to say, "Oh, can you show us how you take off your turban, how you put it on, and everything, to see how is under is loose." It's not like, they're not. He did not show the hair because
religious
it's not
reasons.
for like.
Yes.
Yeah, this is not many people understand the turban for a Sikh people is a crown. This is crown. This is same when you bang the, I don't know, from the queen or king now, them's crown from his head.
Right, exactly. And this is what I find very sad. I mean, there's many things I find very sad about the case, but like I mentioned, that point in the judge's final remarks, how the judge has tried to say certain things about Sikh tradition and Sikh community, but also vilifying Vickram at the same time for the way that he practiced certain things. So the fact that, of course, he carried the kirpan, right? He carried that. He was obviously very much connected to his faith. He obviously practiced the 5 pillars, right? But then him saying about this extra one that he had, this extra, the judge is trying to say, well, it's a problem because when your family turned up, they weren't carrying the thing, so you were actually doing something extra. But you're not a Sikh person. You don't actually know the full tradition. Your understanding of what Sikhism is literally just probably because of what you're reading about this case. What knowledge do you have prior to this? Have you actually spoken to Sikh people? Have you actually immersed yourself into Sikh community? And again, he's a judge, so his job is supposed to be as neutral as possible to this, and I think he very much failed in this case. But there's a point that I read out the other day, and let me find it again, about him saying about, this bit here. No, is that the one? Let me find it.
Foxy, I just want to add one thing, and I say this again and again. Please, people need to do their research. People have you know what, I'm telling you, like, the kirpan is a ceremonial dagger which is blunt and curved. You can't even cut a vegetable with that. That's what I'm trying to say. People are brushing us under, like, only due to 1% the whole Sikh community. They don't, I'm trying to explain to you, your British Army provided us kirpans. 83,500 Sikh warriors were awarded kirpans when we came down here. This is what I'm trying to say, George. You can't. That's what it is. It is a blunt ceremonial dagger. When you provide sacred food in the Gurdwara, it's dipped in the holy water, baptized, and this gone through the sacred food. It is blunt. And you know, these people, I'm telling you, I have explained it so many times. They are saying, like, kirpan should be allowed, this and that, and that. This is what, it is not about the, it's about the, Steve, I do agree on that. This is the thing, like, due to one person, everyone has got good and bad eggs and all that stuff. Please don't brush us under only one. There are so many. I'm just going to say one thing, and I'll say this again, and you know, and people are not going to like it. How many kirpan crimes have happened in the UK? And you know, remember, there was no answer in your comment section. There was like 2 or 8, only 0. There is no. There is.
Yeah. Do you know what's really sad for me is that the Sikh community have had to become so defensive about this, and of course I hear that from you, Bollywood, is that you guys are really having to work hard, and unjustly so. And also, I feel this is just testament to the type of people that you are, because you're so good and kind, and you're all about community and helping and non-threatening, that of course as part of your personality it is coming out even more that you're having to defend yourself. But I do want to say as well that you also don't have to. You don't have to. Like, as black people, we don't come out and defend ourselves. Brown people don't come out and defend ourselves. One person, as you know, and as we all say, does not represent the whole community. So, you know that we will also stick up for you. If you feel like people aren't sticking up for you, just know that there are lots of people also sticking up for you. So you don't have to work as hard as you feel like you might need to.
As I said, this guy said, you go on descendants, you carry on, sorry.
No, then, and you go first if you want. But
there's this guy, guys, you're generalizing, but you can't worry. I am trying to explain to you, he didn't use kirpan. How many times I have to get into your thick brains that it was not correct? It was other dagger used, which is oh my God. This is the problem, Fox. They don't want to listen.
Yeah.
They literally don't want to listen.
I know.
They literally don't want to listen and just come down here, blah, 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 and all that stuff. Come on, man, get a life.
I know.
Get a life.
Stuart King in the
comment
comment section says, it's individuals like this that are harmful to our community, turning a blind eye to Digwa's actions. Okay, Stuart King. Should we turn a like Stuart King? Let's talk to the white people, the white men right now, okay? Wayne Couzens. Does that mean we should just ignore? Thank you, Eva. Yes, please do come back because I've got some more questions for you. Wayne Couzens, okay? Very dangerous person in the Metropolitan Police, raped a woman. And as studies have come out as to say that there is a big problem in the Met in terms of abuse against women, racism, discrimination, all these kind of things, right? The police in the Met, but we don't see you wanting to disband that. Unless and only now you've got an issue with the police, right? Only now you've got an issue with the police because they didn't triage a situation against a white boy, a Polish boy, who you actually didn't even defend. You wouldn't have defended before, priorly, because you were trying to get all the Polish out of your country. Stuart King, are you even still here? Stuart King, I'm talking directly to you. We've also got Stuart King.
Yeah.
Are you now responsible? Because you guys try and say one person, right, is a massive thing. You've got Harold Shipman. Harold Shipman, he unalived 200 people, women and babies. Stuart King. Stuart King, what about that? What do? Do we just say that we don't want any white doctors anymore in the country? Is that the solution, Stuart King? One white doctor has unalived 200 people. So we're saying, that's it now. We're going to get all the doctors and nurses, okay? That's probably why there's more brown doctors and nurses, because you're literally unaliving your own. And even when it comes to things like nursery kids, right? Kids in nursery, you've got Lucy Letby, and also that girl recently who was actually unalived a black kid in the nursery. We've seen it on CCTV. She bloody smothered the black boy. So we're going to say now that there should be no white people allowed around women and children and other men, because you guys are doing this. And thank you, the killer of Daniel Angelon. I haven't even written his name down, Sword Guy. I don't even know his name, right? So now we're going to say that there should be no white people at all around others, because this is what your people have done locally and internationally, okay? Peter Sutcliffe, Mussolini, Stalin, Anders Breivik, who literally went to unalive children. He actually put himself on an island to unalive children, okay? No, it wasn't Lucy Letby that smothered the kid. It was another girl. I can't remember her name. Let me find her name, because Lucy Letby killed those other children. But let me get it. Nursery worker. And she, smothers baby. Do you remember her name?
It's I don't know, but it's justified there because she is white and the documentary comes out and all that stuff. But I'm gonna ask this question: when a Sikh girl got raped in Albury by John Ashby, where were all these people? Did us as Sikhs went out on? Did us as Sikh people went out there protesting like the way they did at Southampton?
No.
This is the double standards. Yeah. That's what it is.
They always have double standards. There's always one rule for us and another rule for them. Okay, so this is the child. The child's name was Noah Sabanda. If you don't know about this case, so a nursery worker, its boss and worker have been sentenced over an unaliving of a 14-month-old boy who was subjected to excessive force as staff tried to make him sleep. The mother of Noah Sabanda said her child was unalived alone and scared in pain after being put in a sleeping pod at Fairy Tales Day Nursery in Dudley, West Midlands. The nursery worker, Kimberly Cookson, was sentenced to 3 years and 4 months on gross negligence manslaughter. Okay? And we see this a lot. And I have to tell you something. My mother is a nursery worker. And the things that she has seen, she tried to whistle-blow many times about the things that she'd see. Even if a child had hurt itself, she would go, only 3 years. Disgraceful for murdering a kid. 3 years. She would see things all of the time. And she would also always go to the boss and say, this child has hurt itself. This child has got a broken arm. This child is... And they would always have a go at my mother because she's black. They didn't like the fact that it was a black woman who was bringing all these problems to the table and saying the way that things are run around here are not okay. Like, something needs to change. And guess what happened? They bullied my mum out of a job. She had to take early retirement, my own mother. And she has suffered since because she's not had any, what's the word called? just any closure really from it, because there was nobody fired after. They tried to make out my mother was the bad guy for whistleblowing. And this is the problem with black and brown people. When we see that there's a problem in the white system, they always have a go at us for bringing their problems to the table. Right. And we like here, I've never said anything that Henry deserved it. I've never said that. I will never say that. Like I've said 100 times, it's terrible what happened to him. Lee Rigby, what happened about him? Absolutely, again, same situation, really disgusting. But what happens is you white people, you need a martyr. So instead of actually respecting people's families, like respecting Henry Novak's family, respecting Lee Rigby's family, because Rigby said, don't use Lee against Black Lives Matter, and don't use Lee Rigby, Tommy Robinson, don't do that. But you guys still did it anyway. So the fact that you bring up Lee Rigby makes me wonder, do you even care about Lee Rigby? The answer is probably no. Probably no. It's not the case. Eva, are you back? Is she back yet? She's not back yet. Okay, so yes, this is the thing. If white people have an issue with how everybody else behaves, we will, and I have been doing it anyway, make you reflect upon yourself about your own behavior, because the problem is that you're always pointing fingers at others for the things that you do and have done since at least 400 years of your history. I mean, it goes back longer than that, but yeah, you still keep doing it. Yeah, there's more questions that I have to ask for Eva when she comes back, but this is not about painting Vickram as a innocent person, because clearly he's not. What I try to do is be neutral, because I have the ability to do so. I have the ability to see both sides. And for some reason, that's a problem for English people. They've got a real problem with it. And I think, again, it's because they see themselves in Henry. They see themselves as young, jovial people who can do banter and can antagonize people. They feel this is their own privilege, right? It's like, I should be able to go out and say whatever I want at whoever I want and film whoever I want and start and doing all these things. I should be able to do it without consequence. Unfortunately, the world doesn't work like that. And Henry learnt the hard way. That's it. Like I said the other day, it should be a warning to white people. George, I'm not going to respond to your lack of intelligence. I'm not going to respond to it, because you guys, you don't have basic thinking skills mastered, let alone critical thinking skills mastered. George, you've been told many times, you literally could be sitting here and listening instead of actually. I met Sophie and you're cracking me up today. Yeah.
Girl, I'm telling you, you're just reading everyone to filth right now.
Yeah, I always do. That's why I was called the biggest racist on this app this week, which is hilarious to me, considering that there are like actual neo-Nazis on here. There are people who are actually calling for entire eliminations of civilizations, and yet I'm the biggest racist.
And the one who has actually faced it a lot, girl. Like,
yeah, I'm the biggest racist.
I don't know.
The biggest,
You
right?
know what?
So I'm like, who are you actually comparing me to? The biggest?
This is the thing, you know what? I'm telling you right now, go please learn history. Please. I just beg you. Go on, go and read history books. Please educate yourselves. Then come down here and have a proper debate.
Yeah.
Don't jump on the back. And this is the thing, but folks, I'm just sick and tired of repeating myself again and again. And like at the moment right now, I'm going to work, but it's just like I was crying last night. I'm just like my heart is full at the moment. I don't want to cry on the live right now, but it's scary now, you know what I mean? It's really scary. Like what it used to be 10-12 years ago, it's not the same. It's just like walking on eggshells. It's just like you don't know what's going to happen to you the next, you know what I mean? It's gone worse.
Yeah.
It's really gone worse.
And this is the thing, it's affecting several different communities, and that's why it feels worse, because it feels like everybody's being affected. And like we've been saying for some time, is that we know that the elites want a civil war. They do. And the worst thing about it is because white poor people are so angry inside, they really want it. They want to fight. Like they actually want to fight. They don't have things anymore like boxing schools or ways to actually resolve a lot of conflicts or ways that they feel about life anymore. They would rather just go and antagonize people in the streets and smash up houses and hurt people. That's really Neanderthal behavior. because we don't do that. We
Have
literally
enough
don't do
robots,
that.
They don't need us.
Yeah, we don't need it. We don't do it.
They have
Go ahead,
They have
December.
enough robots. They don't need us. They have enough robots that they don't need us. So they're starting to be those apes you're describing. The tech is there. It hasn't been manufactured fully out, but it's there. They don't need us anymore. They don't need to make people like me slaves anymore to the dollar that can't afford to eat or house ourselves. They don't need us anymore. We're at that tipping point.
Yeah.
I am done.
Oh, you've gone on mute. User 793, good to see you. Elon Musk is part of a problem. He's a big part of a problem. He's not part, he's a massive part. Anyway, anywhere he can instigate, any time he can find or make an advantage for himself, he will take it. He is a massive opportunist. Massive opportunist. And the thing is, like, you know, when something happens, when an issue happens, you know he's not too far behind. He's not too far behind. Yeah, Musk's family loved apartheid, loved all of these things. Jai, yes, you love me. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate the love. Yes. Go on, Bollywood.
There's a joke. Okay, and I want to see you how quickly you respond to this. Who is the first lady of America at the moment?
Right now, Melania Trump.
No, it's Elon Musk.
Oh, yeah. But the funny thing is, isn't it? Remember 3 months ago?
The joke, innit?
Yeah, but a few months ago, remember they'd like fallen out, and Musk was threatening sort of Trump pretty much because he was like, "You're not giving me a second seat in the Oval, you know, or in the the president's room, whichever the room it is." Like Elon Musk wanted a little sort of toddler's chair next, like a permanent chair. Next to him in that office, and he didn't get one. I think he was getting very upset about it. But yeah, this is what I keep telling white people, is that they don't realize how easily manipulated they are, how, you know, and Descendant of the President is right, you know, they're not needed anymore, but white people, white poor people, white people, they need a purpose. And this is their purpose. They feel like they've got unity, I have to put it in this, camaraderie, something to stand for. And all they're doing is united in hatred. And that's it. They're playing right into the hands. And yeah, even I am in a way, of course, of having these conversations and talking about it. But these are conversations that the universe is literally asking me to have. So I'm going along with it. I know that there's a bigger plan out there, and I hate at the same time that we are having to suffer from it, because essentially all this boils down to is white people not being able to handle their own emotions. This is all it boils down to. White people, white men not being able to handle their own emotions. This is why we always get dragged into shit all of the time, globally, and even as local communities. It is a massive problem. So when Eva comes back, Eva, are you there? Are you back? I don't think she's back yet. No, she's not back yet. Okay, so I've got someone else who wants to come up. Is it gonna work? It's doing the do. Tazzy, we got Tazzy on the panel. Tazzy, how are you?
Hi, Fox. I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
Just been listening to your podcast.
What would you like to add to the topic today?
I just wanted to say that it's absolutely crazy in the UK at this moment in time for people that obviously that have immigrated to this country, and I just don't get it. I literally do not get it. Why do few people that hurt people and it becomes a national crime?
Yeah.
And yet when you got 60 million plus people in this country, a majority of the crimes that are committed are actually committed by white folks themselves. Yet you do not see them running around against their own people. Yet if a minority does it, whether it's black, Asian, brown, Chinese, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
Why is
This
that?
is because English people, like I just said, are easily manipulated. Whoever enemy they want to put forward, the English people will always go along with it. They always have done. 1800s, it was the Irish, then later it was the Black, Arabs, Caribbean, Chinese, then later, again, it was like Muslim people. Then, of course, we had Eastern Europeans, the Polish, including people like Henry Novak, who they wanted out of the country, literally voting Brexit. Brexit was the whole reason why they didn't want Eastern Europeans in the country. Now you've got freaking boat people. There's always, unfortunately, the history of the Anglo-Saxon has always been about disliking everybody, including themselves. And this is why I always say it's an Anglo-Saxon problem, because the Celtics, the people who are more indigenous to Britain, have been more used to the fact. Yes, they've been more used to the fact there's been people back and forth.
The weird thing is, the mad, absolute crazy thing is, the British people don't actually even know their own history.
No, they don't.
Which is that's the really sad thing. I mean, as an Asian and as a Muslim, I probably know more about this country's history than the people that actually live here.
We all do. We all
And
do.
that drives me mad.
Yeah.
And I'm like I said, when I hear something that's really winds me up, whether it's on Facebook or whether it's on something like this, I have to comment and I have to correct it.
Yeah, and this is what I think is really
thinking,
frustrating, though, isn't it? In
how
2026, the
people
fact
be?
that we have the knowledge, we've actually taken time to self-educate, to read, to understand, to process, to say, okay, now we can see the bigger picture. We don't just see the end, we can see how we got up to this point, but they're still like, no. And it's like, hold on, we're not coming for you when we're talking about this stuff. Why are you taking it personally? You're taking it personally because it doesn't look favorably upon you as a people, because you're so used to this. Yeah, you're so used to being the best and amazing, but it's not true.
Yeah, exactly. They're so used to writing their own little history, how well they've been doing in other countries, how well they colonized it, and what they provided in Africa, well, no, you didn't actually provide nothing. What you actually did was you actually ripped the resources, brought it to this country, enjoyed yourselves, and then turned around and then took all the GDP out of those countries, left the infrastructure to a decimated level, and then said, "Here you go. We're now going to help you and support you."
Exactly. And this is why it's up to us as the global majority to remember this story and to tell our brothers and sisters exactly what happened, because a lot of people, especially back in our motherlands, they don't remember.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they don't remember. So it is our responsibility. Okay, Eva's back on the panel, guys. So if you guys don't know, we're also talking about the truth about what happened in the Henry Novak and Vickram Digwa case. Eva was actually in the gallery for the full 2 weeks. So from beginning to end, she saw all evidence presented. She saw, of course, Henry Novak's family, Vickram Digwa's family, saw Vickram, saw everything, saw all of the videos.
I personally didn't see, didn't even realise it actually even happened last year.
Yes.
I only just seen what I've actually seen on the media.
Well, this is how things get manipulated. Everything is to do with the timing. And, of course, Nigel Farage is going to be weaponizing this, which he is. And, everything is always done intentionally. And Eva said earlier, maybe you missed this part, that everything seemed to happen in one day. The changing of the tune of the judge, the protesting, the verdict, everything was done in one day, which doesn't normally happen as far as I understand. And even when you read the case itself, the way it's written is written for public consumption. It is not written, the judge's final sentencing remarks. It is literally written like a essay for you to read, rather than actually using technical law terms. All you need to do is just compare. And even when you compare it to the Chaz Corrigan and Mohammed Al Ghassim case, which of course is 22 years, Chaz Corrigan just got recently, right? If you read it, it is literally written like a court case should. But the Vickram Digwa and Henry Novak case is not. So Eva, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming back. So next question. So it says, Digwa mentioned Harry was drunk and the toxicology reports revealed that he was, but he was still under the drink drive limit. Did they say, what specific blood level, alcohol or toxicology readings were read out to the jury or to the court? Can you tell us a little bit about that? What they decided or how they
just say it's under the limit for drive, but they say under the limit didn't mean he did not been drunk. He did not mean he's been sober.
Yes.
Because I think in Wales they put the limit for driving less, because they just recognize the people with the limit before They're already drunk, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't seem like it's a right measurement, right? If he's talking about, okay, well, he's not
No.
drunk enough to drive, that's obviously still saying he's drunk. Like he has a level of alcohol in him, which should be the
Yeah.
measure and towards somebody else's behavior. So can you tell us anything else about how drunk Henry was, or did he have a relationship with alcohol? Was there anything mentioned in the court?
The statement from his friend was there was writing like he don't need too much, like maybe 1, 2 beers to be drunk. We see him in a lift with a bottle of wine. Then he went to the party, yeah. Then he went to the shop. Then he went to the pub. And what did he drink? Water after? I'm not sure.
Yeah. So they,
Like
but
we was
they,
saying last time, this is the student's life, yeah? They're enjoying, not parents. Then parents not see, yeah?
so his friends, by their own testimony, said that he was essentially a lightweight. It didn't take that much alcohol in order for him to be drunk.
Yeah.
So essentially, in that moment, he was drunk, which should have been the measure of the court. Thank you for that. So in the final sentencing, the judge explicitly rejected the claims of racial abuse and self-defense. And you said that you didn't get to hear any testimony from Vickram himself in the court. Was there any sort of pieces of evidence that caused the jury and judge to completely dismiss the defense arguments? Or do you feel like it was a decision that was made without any consideration? I don't want to put any words in your mouth. I'm just trying to ask some questions. Yeah.
I think, I'm not say is that he is guilty, but I think it's just self-defense. He can, if he don't have the Karpan with him, he can take a break, he can take a bottle, you know, he can also hurt him with the bottle. And, you know, it's like, I know how drink people is, yeah? And like we was said, if you are sober, see guy with a knife, you just going, yeah? But no, he decide to mocking him, yeah?
Yeah. Just want to remind everyone, or
I
just
don't
tell
know.
everybody in the chat that Miss Eva is a Polish woman who's married to a Sikh who actually was in the court of the Henry Novak and Vickram Digwa case, and she was there for the full 2 weeks. Okay, so she saw everything there, more than you, more than I, and I'm asking questions about what she has seen. So how do you think, or how did the judge dismiss the case of Vickram Digwa or Digwa's defense team, saying it was racial abuse and self-defense? Did they give a reason as to why they didn't feel it was a racial situation?
No,
They didn't say anything.
no. They just say, I don't think so.
So they just didn't believe. They didn't have any sort of reasoning as to why. Wow.
No.
Okay.
No.
Was there any reaction from the court regarding that?
Not really.
They just accepted that that was
Yeah.
the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And as you mentioned a couple of days ago, the fact that the jury was all white except for 2 foreign people. Do you know the ethnicities of the 2 foreign people on the jury?
I'm not sure. One, I think, is like East European, I think. And another, I'm not sure, but I think she was been in a hijab, meaning she's Muslim, but I don't know which country she is from.
Okay. So was there 12 jurors in this case, you know?
Yeah.
11, 12, there was 12 jurors, okay. 12 jurors, 10 of them were all white and English, could you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, all 10 were
No,
white and English.
5. Yeah.
10 were white and English. 1 was Eastern European, which again would be on the side of Henry Novak, if you're thinking of it on an ethnicity thing. And 1 person and a hijab.
One was been, I'm not sure, she was been white, but probably she's mixed with maybe some Asian, meaning maybe, I don't know, or China or Philippine even, like, she did not look like, you know, like English.
Yeah.
It's mixed, but she was white, very young girl.
So do you mean that, like, when you looked at all of the jury, so all 12, they all looked white presenting?
Of course, even the lady with hijab.
Yeah. Again, that is not biased. Sorry, that is very biased. Again, to remind people, this is not
They can
about.
choose because there was been another people. One I think was been Asian, like maybe India, maybe Pakistan or something, because there was bring all the jury, which they won't choose before, yeah. And
Yes.
after they went out and they would show, oh yeah, we choose this one.
Yeah.
And you know, you just come and you see all jury is white, like, oh no.
Yeah, you knew exactly
No,
what
I
was going to
will-
happen right from then. As soon as you see them, you know how it was going to
Yeah.
go. Like, this is the
But
thing.
no, they're not explained properly. What is a turban for Sikh? What this? It's like people thinking he was sitting in the bushes and like, oh yeah, someone is walking. Come on, we will do it. No, he's not like this person. Even
Yeah, so you
like,
feel like there was a big cultural understanding, or there was not enough cultural representation in the court towards the jury to understand what Sikhism is, why he was wearing what he was wearing, his particular behavior. He obviously.
I don't even.
Go ahead.
My feeling is even the jury don't want to understand. They just been judged before, like probably on the first day. They'll say, "Oh no, this will be our decision." That's it. They don't want to understand. They look like that, like.
This case is just so interesting to me because I know somebody like myself would never be selected for jury duty because I can see all sides. I'm not biased, so they would never pick somebody like me at all because it has to be unanimous, doesn't it? It has to be a unanimous decision, and I would literally be the person be like, no, I'm seeing all sides. Like, I agree that he's guilty. Clearly, Vickram Digwa is guilty, but there needs to be a real understanding on how he got to that point. And this is what we're constantly discussing here, because if you believe in justice, right? So I don't understand people who believe in a justice system, but the justice system only really favors white people. That's not justice. That's literally not justice at all. It needs to be consistent across the board. It needs to be making sure that even people, when they're unalived, black, brown, white, whatever, they're getting fair representation. And also the person, if they do say that it is self-defense, which is what Vickram Digwa has said, is that he also gets fair representation. But he was not even allowed to give his own testimony in a court. That's not democracy.
No.
English people, you're always talking about we're a democratic country. It's never been democratic country. If you have this heavy bias, you're not a democratic country. So I think that's just really, really interesting that they completely dismissed everything to do with his racial abuse and self-defense claim. So with the role of the family, with Vickram's family, of course, how they handled it was terrible. They handled everything the most diabolical way. You can kind of understand, well, of course, we don't want our son to get into trouble. But when it comes to those sort of things, if they were honest, then maybe Vickram may have got lesser sentencing. And of course, his reaction.
What point is it? No one, even when dad, mom, or brother came there, they did not about any stuff because Vickram did not tell them.
Yeah.
That's why they didn't know. Even if what I was hearing, not like, because we don't know, yeah? That only two person, which one cannot talk now and another we cannot judge, yeah? But was been like, when I tell you, he was given two like warning on the leg because Vickram was been left-handed. He take this to the right hand to put it back, and he's again worst him, and he just push him. He did not also recognize he was poke him in the chest. But the wrong is there because he did not say anything. He can say, I was poke him in the leg, yeah? That's it.
So he admitted that, right, Eva? He said, I do know that I poked him in the leg. Like, he said he did that intentionally.
Of course. And another thing is, like, they say they not call for ambulance. They call for ambulance. They call for ambulance. They was say on a when they call for a police, and another person was been also on the phone for an ambulance.
So how did they call for an ambulance if they didn't say that he was poked? Who did that? How did they know he was injured or something?
No, because when he was jumped from over the fence. He fell on a car. He's got the cut on his face, which they say probably, this is what. And they
Okay.
say he's bleeding from the mouth, probably when he was fell. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, we need medical assistance, but no one was sent. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for that. Tazzy, I think you had a question.
Yeah, I was going to say, regardless of the situation or what's led up to it, the fact that the individual used the knife just changes the fact of the situation.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's the thing, and it's just too easy for anybody now, especially the youth now. And when you look at the 25-year-olds, the 20-year-old, the kid, the teenagers, the first thing they will now use is the knife with their fist. And I think that's just absolutely crazy in this country.
Y'all went over it.
Are we following what America is doing? And it just seems to everything that seems to happen in America tends to come down to Britain.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be following another country. We
I
had a
feel
system
like
here
I
back in the
do feel
UK.
like though those two issues or these two countries on particular carrying pokey things is quite separate, because the capital of the world for pokey crimes used to be Glasgow. There has always been an issue with sharp objects in the UK. It has been vilified because, of course, they've tried to say that, it's only black teenagers in London doing it, even though the crime rates have fallen dramatically in London. Again, this is just about how they're trying to separate certain groups by race. I feel like we said at the beginning, and like we all know, it is literally just whoever we can see as a target right now. Okay, it is just whoever's a target, whoever we're looking at is going to be a problem, and they're going to represent the entire community. And that's
I
it.
get that, but
Yeah.
I get that, but the fact that like he's used a particular type of knife. I mean, like I said, you can use a fork. You could use the knife, on a table, on a dining table, in a restaurant, regardless whether it's blunt or not. If you hit it hard enough, it's going to
Roy
go.
talked about the stats of the Kirpin, though.
You know what I mean? So regardless whether the Kirpin is a blunt instrument or not, and like I said, the size.
Regardless, those stats are important. I'm sorry, I keep jumping over. I'm going to back.
Sorry, what are you saying?
Yeah, what's that, Descendant? We can't really hear you. Descendant?
I was just stepping over. I'm sorry, but the whole Kirpin thing has been brought up, and the stats are important in the relevant conversation.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Kind of anti what Tassie's saying. Not trying to hate on you or anything, Tassie. It's just
That's fine. That's fine.
The Kirpin has been brought up. The topic of it is different than the blunt objects that you're trying to bring it into. It's a religious thing that is not used as a weapon of force.
Yeah.
It's not even used as a weapon.
Yeah.
It's used as a decoration, as far as I know.
It's a ceremonial object.
Yeah.
Sorry, white boy, talking too much, but the Kirpin is, you can't pull that in. If you want to argue what you're arguing, you can't argue that, in my opinion.
Yeah. Can I read you something biased from the judge? Because the main conversation we had a few days ago, and like I say now, is that there was a lot of biased nature from the judge. And then I'll follow up some questions with Eva as well. So this is paragraph 10. If you guys haven't read it, please do. This is the judge's final sentencing remarks. You can find them on judiciary.uk, like you can find any case that you're interested in. So paragraph 10 says, you were sober, but were carrying a large Sikh in a sheath attached to a belt over the outside of your clothing. It is a strict requirement of the Sikh faith to have a knife called a kirpan at all times. Generally, this will be a small knife hidden from view, often on a length of cord and worn around the neck. Okay, I'm going to interject here and say I've met many Sikhs, and a lot of them that I've met wear them on a belt around the waist, that when you are sitting or when you are walking, that you can see it. I've met many from talking about 20 years ago. Yeah, so I feel like he's trying to say it's often length, a cord around the neck. That's his own subjective view and not objective view. I don't think that there's a Sikh law or requirement that you should wear it around the neck or wear it around the back. It's just whatever you feel comfortable. Is that right, Eva? You're married to a Sikh guy.
Yeah, is the same like for a Christian people wearing the chain with a cross even, yeah?
Yes.
For them, the whole one is like,
It's
that's
just
why
however you feel comfortable
this
to wear
also
it.
like they say ban the karpan. Okay, ban the karpan, okay. But
No, no, no.
anyway, you
Don't
cannot,
ban.
but no. I
I
say like
don't. Sorry, sorry,
no.
sorry, Eva.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
that's right.
gonna just wanted to interrupt quickly.
That's
I
right.
don't think the Kurpan should be banned, to be honest, because, like I said,
Of
it's
course.
part of the five pillars of the Sikh community, and one person using it in a malicious manner
He didn't
does
use
not.
it. This is the
Of course,
problem.
yes.
This is the problem,
Yeah,
Tazzy. The
I know,
kirpan was
I know,
not
I know.
used,
That's
and
what
it
I'm
was
saying.
not
But what
used
I'm
in a
saying is,
malicious nature either. And this is why
yeah,
we have to have these conversations to make sure people
There we go.
understand
There we go.
the
That's why I
whole
said
conversation. Because you keep bringing up the kirpan,
wasn't
it
used.
was not used, it was not touched, it was
Yes.
not anything. And this is
Yeah,
when
but
you have to understand
like,
Sikh community.
yeah, they say like ban the kirpan, but even you cannot use the knife and people still using on the street, yeah?
Yes.
Then what we can do? Nothing we can do. You ban people still.
Yeah.
You cannot be drunk to drive the car, but people still drinking and they drive the car. Then what is it?
Yeah.
What is it? But for them, this is religion. This is same like, oh no, Christian people cannot they put cross on them neck. You know, it's like
And
Yeah,
it
it needs to
it's
be
really like
it needs to be consistent. Like I brought up the other day, and like I have a video on my page. If you want to ban knives, you have to ban pocket ones as well, because white men have also unalived people with those in the UK. So you just have to be consistent.
Of course. But
So-
you know, this is the one happened like this with the sick person, and everyone have to apologize for that.
Yeah.
But what about when the English person killed another one?
They would
Did
be
anyone
they-
say sorry?
They
Did
wouldn't get any
anyone say
work
sorry?
done.
Did anyone
They
take
literally
knee
would get
for
no
that?
work
No.
done because they do it all the time. They would literally not be able to do anything because they are alive every single day all around the world. And because they are narcissists, they would never be able to do it. They can't do it. They can't accept responsibility for the things that they do. But I'll continue reading on from this paragraph, okay? So it mentioned where they wear the kirpan, right? It says, you had that, but in addition to a larger one in the sheath, which is the one that was used in the unalivement of Henry. You're a member of an order of Sikhs called the Nihang, who have a tradition of having a second knife, or kirpan, and that is often visible, believing that the guru will look favorably on that. You observe that tradition in your everyday life, at work and in public. However, it is not a strict requirement. Again, this is the judge giving comment on something that actually is part of his faith. It can be part of his faith, but he's now vilifying him, saying, well, actually, it's not a strict requirement. You didn't have to do that. And then it says that it's borne out by the fact that neither your brother or your father, who arrived at the scene after you had poked Henry, were so dressed. So he's comparing that to the fact that his brother and father didn't turn up with a second thing on them, right? And then it goes on to say that according to Professor Gurnam Singh, and I mentioned this earlier, that the jury and even the judge has not immersed themselves into Sikh community to know more. They would have just read some certain things and been like, well, I know everything. But he's tried to reference Professor Gurnam Singh, who is a professor of sociology and an expert in the field. Over the last 30 years, there have been a trend towards younger people wearing a kirpan with pride. In a desire to express their cultural identity, they see it as an act of resistance to being denied the ability otherwise to display their identity, which again is not true, because the kirpan has always been worn by Sikhs in the country. So you see, I'll read that again. Okay, it says, over the last 30 years, there has been a trend towards younger people wearing a kirpan with pride in a desire to express their cultural identity. They see it as an act of resistance to being denied the ability otherwise to display their identity. The first time I ever met a Sikh person was at university. We were 21. Hold on. That's second. Hold on. I've forgotten the ages. Age 8 on 21. That was the first time I saw a Sikh boy the same age as me with a kirpan on his, and that's why I said, hey, tell me about this. This is so cool. Tell me a little bit more. I love this. Like, tell me about your hair. And let me say, yeah, like, you know, this has nothing to do with being a trend of pride. This is just Sikh pride. if you know the 5 pillars, this is how you are as a Sikh. And this is what I was trying to mention earlier, is that I feel very sorry for the Sikh community, because I feel like they're being so manipulated to say certain things in defense, rather than actually them being like, this is how we are and how we always have been. Because in this quote, he's trying to say over the last 30 years, there's been a trend towards younger people. No, it has always been the case. Always been the case.
Always.
I kind of want to say, instead of Sikh pride, to me, all this learning about this and the Kirpan and the stuff that I knew about it beforehand, that's pride has a bad connotation with me, but honor.
Honor is a good word. Yeah.
That's right. And I don't want to change how you're saying stuff. I'm just,
I think
yeah,
that's
and
I think that's a
pride
better word. Yeah, I think that's actually a better word, because when you think of pride, it does have a negative connotation to it now. Like, it is kind of out, and I mean, we obviously think about probably white people in our minds when it comes to white pride. It's actually about hurting others.
Wait, how could I not think about white people? I look at my tan.
I know.
This is a tan.
I know.
I obviously think about white people.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
Bugger's got a question, and then I will bring back some questions as well to Eva. Bugger at the top.
Hello, Fox.
Hi there.
I just wanted to say that thank you for being fair and looking at all sides. I've been watching your lives, and I just want to say thank you from the Sikh community.
Oh.
Just being fair and like looking at all aspects of this case. I know like a lot of people have got concerns over the Kirpan, and they think that one pokey is the same as all. But there's a lot of history behind the Kirpan. It's not just one of those things for us. Like when it started, when we had to start wearing it, it was because at the time, hundreds of years ago, the Mughals were trying to turn Sikhs and Hindus to convert to Islam. That's why our guru brought in the Kirpan and all the 5Ks, and even the Nihangs. That's the time the Nihang group came in as well to fight the Mughals at the time. And thing is, it wasn't just like a war. These Mughals at the time, they would chop kids' heads off.
Oh, please,
and
just censor yourself a little bit, because we don't want the live shut down or flagged.
Okay, they would do stuff to kids' heads, and they would wrap them around the parents in the hands and say, you have to convert to Islam or we're going to do this. They would saw people in half.
Okay, you're too much now, Bug. I'm going to have to drop you, because I did just mention, don't be so graphic with your descriptions. It's actually not quite necessary to what we're talking about. I'm just gonna read this one. Yeah, 1 minute, Tazzy. 1 minute, Tazzy. I'm just gonna read this next part from the judge, okay? Because of course we're talking about the Kirpan and any other bladed articles that are related to Sikhism. Paragraph 11 said, the privilege extended to practicing Sikhs of being allowed in public with a bladed article. So he's obviously saying it again, like it is a privilege for you to carry a bladed article. Like we know the Kirpan is a blunt article. It is not something that we consider to be bladed. It says, particularly in respect of the large other one, a highly dangerous weapon, easily accessible to the wearer, brings with it huge responsibility. So again, this is trying to get you as people to see anything that the Sikhs wear as being a dangerous article. Wording is very important. Tazzy, and then we'll bring back Eva, please. What's that, Tazzy?
I just wanted to say the gentleman that was here, as a bugger, whatever his name was. Again, I'm not going to sort of like reflect. I mean, from as a Muslim, like I said, there is no. I just wanted to make this very clear to anybody that is listening. There is no compulsion to become a Muslim. So he was stating that the Mughals were basically killing babies and adults and things like that. I would disagree to that comment in the sense that because Islam teaches, and if you're a true faith as a true Muslim, then there is no compulsion to become a Muslim. Muslim people will not force other on Muslim people that are not Muslim to come into the faith of Islam, because then you're not actually a Muslim because you're being forced to become a Muslim. So why would you then follow the religion when you're being forced into it,
Yeah.
if that makes any sense. So, in fact, if you looked back in history, most of the persecutions that were happening to other cultures or other religions, it was the Muslims that they were coming into the countries, Muslim countries, and they were being protected. So the two sentences do not make any sense. What he was making, the statement that he was making. I
Thank you
just wanted to
for
clarify that.
thank you for that, Tazi. And as somebody who moved to a Muslim country over 5 years ago, let me tell you something. I am no closer to becoming Muslim. I am no one's forcing me to do nothing. I live as myself.
Exactly, and
I
his
do.
comment that he made in that manner was absolutely
Yeah,
correct. You know,
there's no.
it did make no sense because you can now, like I says, the fact that there are churches in Muslim countries that are being taken care of by Muslims, even though there's no
Yes.
Muslims may not be there, then that's telling you if we're not able to knock down a church or a gurdwara or a synagogue, then why would we then force those individuals to become Muslims when they're being forced into that
Yeah.
into that religion
I
and into
posted
that
a
faith?
video on this actually yesterday. There was an English gentleman who was getting very upset over Islam. I know that this is a little bit of a detraction, a minute, and we will come back. But somebody was saying about how, can we just all mute for a second, please? Let's all mute so you can hear. Yeah, so this English gentleman is saying, well, what about if we go and install churches in all Muslim countries? I was like, well, you did that? Because they were talking about the mosques in Christian countries. There are, I think, I can't remember the number off the top of my head. I can't remember, but basically there are significantly less amount of mosques in Christian countries, and there are 100,000 churches in Muslim countries, 100,000. So it is a very disproportionate argument, very disproportionate. But we're going to come back to the case now, and we're going to continue with speaking to Eva again. Eva was in the courtroom for the full 2 weeks, the Henry Novak and Vickram Digwa case. So can you tell us, what did the courtroom testimony reveal about the actions of Vickram's family members, the Brothers 999 call, and his mother's actions immediately after the poking occurred? What did any testimonies reveal in there? You did mention earlier that the brother didn't know about the poking. Did anybody there know anything that Vickram had done this?
No one was know about that. They just say you was a lie, you was a lie. That's it. You was a lie. You did not say you need ambulance, but no one know. They only say about the ambulance because he was bleeding from mouth, yeah, from the cut, and the face was been with the blood, yeah.
Did I not read? Let me check this because I was doing so much fact checking that he did admit it though. Did Vickram admit it to his brother in the car or something? Because there was a phone recording. Is that right? Or am I reading
There
that
was
wrong?
got camera in the car, yeah. He was say something, I'm fool, I'm idiot, but he not like. He was asking, I think, what you use. He say karpan. He say, are you stupid?
So could you tell us a little
Something
bit?
like that. But
Yeah, can you tell us a bit more about that in full? Was it a video recording you saw of their two conversation?
no. They not show the video. They not show even what they was talking about. They just read from the paper.
Okay, so a transcript was taken about a video that they had seen of a conversation between Gurpreet and Vickram
Yeah.
about it. And so could you tell us a little bit more in full what you remember about that particular conversation, please?
I was say what they was saying there.
Yeah.
Not the properly because I not remember. You know, in the 2 weeks you not remember everything.
Yeah.
But something like he was attack you. Then he say I was use it. He say the small one, and he say no other one. He say are you stupid? And the Vickram was say I'm fool. I'm idiot. Just you know.
Yeah. So of course that's when he made the moment to say that he had poked him. Did he say that he poked him in the legs or anything like that? Or did he say that he did it in the chest? Did he admit?
I don't think so. He was say they was say he was show where, but this is the different area where exactly he's been poke. You know, like But they say he just showing like face, something, but I didn't see any evidence of that.
Yeah. So this point, was this the car that was going to the police station to give a report about what happened, or was this later on or something?
This was been, I think, first day when they went to the court before, after when they was arrest them, and first day when they're going to the court. They put, this was been them's game to put the two brothers in the one car, you know, because they take father different car, mother different car, but they put the brother in the same car.
On that note then, actually, was there any sort of emotions that you could get from Digwa himself and the family? Did he seem regretful, remorseful? Did he not care? Was he just emotionless? Can you tell us a little bit about him as a person in the court?
He just sitting there, of course, was being emotional because he was, when he was say about all the situation, he was crying. This is not, you know, something happened what he's doing like every week or every month. This is something he did not mean. That's why he say, I did not, I was stabbed him in the chest when till the police said me I'm under arrest for a, you know what.
So when did he actually get arrested?
The same day.
The same day. Okay. So when the
Yes,
police came
yes.
to the scene, they'd of course arrested Henry. They said that he was an instigator. And at that, was it at the scene or was it later when they went to the station? Because they were saying that he was offered food.
I think on the scene. I think was on the scene because he was stopped breathing there. I think he was taking last his breath there. Then probably was been on the same scene. It's not like people say, oh, they went home. Oh, I got warning.
Yeah. So what was so this is what I think is quite confusing. Okay, so what I understand from the case is that, of course, they met each other on Belmont Road. Henry was walking to his house. Digwa was going to his car, his vehicle. And I think they obviously lived nearby, didn't they? The family lived nearby. And that's why they managed to arrive so quickly on the scene. Do you know who the first person was that Digwa called at the scene?
At the scene was in the call. I think the first person who was came there because they was been together. They was sitting in a red car, which you will see, I think, on the pictures when he left the car. And the brother was like, a long time he's not come back. I will walk there. Yeah. Then he went there, and the brother was called for a father.
Okay, so the brother was already at the scene because he was saying, I'm just trying to get to my car. So the brother was in the car, right? And so he was the first person.
But when you see on the video the timing, it's not like some people say, oh yeah, they was living first. They make them story what happened, but when you see the time, it's not time for explaining what happened.
So did the brother see anything? Well, obviously they didn't because there was no witnesses. So that's what you just said, right? Is that the brother went to look for Vickram and to see where he was and what happened, and then of course the family all turned up and saw that
and
Henry.
I think this is the time when he started making the video when he's jumping over on a bin and over the fence.
Was there any sort of reasoning as to why Vickram decided to film Henry at that moment? Was there any logic? Was anything offered by him or the court?
You know, like I was said, he was say like, I will F you up. I will show you what Essex boys can do with boys like you or something like that. And after when he's grabbed his hair, he was say, I will kill you. Then he was worried like he can take from him his karpan. I will say karpan. I don't want to warning another one. That when he was used, and you know it's painful. He was just swinging by the hair.
Remind me again. This was on Henry's phone or on Vickram's phone?
Which one?
This grabbing by the hair and I will unalive you.
No. This is the only what was being said.
Okay, this was just by testimony.
That's why I say, we cannot listen another side. That's why I say what I was here.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So yes, at the scene, or at the point of Vickram filming Henry, when did that filming actually start? Do you know?
I think from his brother or Vikram's phone. I don't know which one phone, but was being started when he was climbing over the fence. And after one person was being on the phone and another person was being recording everything. Yeah.
Okay, so Vickram was filming Henry and someone was filming everything else.
No, the brother was being on the phone with the police, and I think the Vikram was holding the phone.
Okay, so
They was asking why you filming him, and he said because I was thinking he will run away. Then I got the proof of his face, yeah, and everything.
Oh, so that's the reason why he was filming him, for proof. Not
Yes,
because he was
yes.
like antagonizing him or taunting or something like that. Because that's the part that was very confusing. And of course, that's the part that the court has said, because you were filming him, that meant that you actually was maybe enjoying it, or you did it because it was something that you wanted to do at that moment.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was just filming it as proof to say this is the situation that happened, not
Yeah.
realizing, of course, at the time that he did make a fatal wound in Henry's
Yes,
chest.
because you cannot see any blood or anything.
Yes. Well, yeah, obviously the police didn't, because they didn't see any blood until it was coming from his mouth. Did they say, oh,
Yeah.
actually he's injured. He's been injured.
Okay, but did you see how much they put his t-shirt up?
No.
It's like maybe 8 centimeter on a video, everything. He just pulled on the one side his t-shirt, maybe, like I say, not really 10 centimeter up. That's it.
Yeah. So they didn't do a thorough search enough of his body to understand the seriousness of his wounds.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So why do you think that the press or the judge suppressed certain details about the case? Obviously, there were certain things that the gallery couldn't see. There are certain things that the press has not seen, or there are certain I mean, it's just very strange to me that I seem to be the only person that is talking about Henry being the instigator. To me, that's crazy, because I'm just reading everything. So were there actually explicit reporting restrictions placed on the trial by the judge, or do you think the media simply focused on
Foxy, can you give me 5 minutes, because I got an important phone. I have to answer this.
Yes, of
I
course.
will be back in 5 minutes.
Yes, thank you, Eva. Thank you so much. Okay, we've also got Tazzy and Mimi as well on the panel. Are there any things that you've heard so far that have been surprising to you, Tazzy and Mimi, or any other opinions you want to make towards this case, please?
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, it's just crazy. And from what Eva's saying, obviously there's more information that's been held, and that surprised me. From what, like I said, I've only seen little clips of information on the TV or on Facebook, whatever. But yeah, like I says, I mean, two wrongs don't make a right at the end of the day, and what that the young Sikh gentleman did was absolutely atrocious, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah. As soon as he pulled that out, he should. It just makes you wonder, why was that his reasoning? Yeah, because you can get into physical altercations with men. I mean, men are men, right? Physical altercation.
They could have walked away with bruises. I mean, there wouldn't have been a life lost at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Regardless who won that fight or the situation, they could have walked away from it. And sometimes the best part of valor is walk away from a situation like this, and the fact that they couldn't. I want to come back onto the point of the gentleman that was speaking a little bit earlier on regarding alcohol level. Regard to alcohol, just because the toxicology report came back that it was just below the drink driving limit, it don't mean that he wasn't drunk, because
exactly, he was. He was drunk.
What I'm saying, he was drunk too, but if he was able to drive, you've got enough alcohol, but not enough to kind of impair your judgment, is what I think the judge was trying to say.
As the friends of Henry themselves had said, that Henry gets drunk very easily. This was actually said in the court. His friends actually said this, and then also
on the individual, depending on the individuals, whether they are a regular drinker or not a regular drinker will be dependent of how your liver will handle the alcohol that you consume.
Yes.
How quickly it goes into your system. If he's had food, it's going to saturate it within food, and it's going to take time for that alcohol level to build up within the bloodstream. Now, depending when he drank and how much he drank, and to a point when he obviously got stabbed, and when they actually did check the blood levels, and because obviously it takes time for that saturation to happen. If the time was very short, maybe didn't get to that level. Maybe he was feeling drunk, but the level of alcohol wasn't that high at that time. That's when I was trying to come across.
Yeah, thank you for that, Tazzy. It was mentioned that I think that he did bump into a car when he was saying hello car. It was he was filming. So by the way, this is on his Snapchat video, is that he was filming and he said hello car and he was singing and then he was yawning. Again, yeah, it's alcohol really does impair people's judgment. It gives you more of a confidence level that you may not have when you're not under the influence of alcohol. And Henry Novak clearly was under the influence of alcohol, and this was massively left out of anything to do with the media or even the judges' sentencing remarks, which, you know, they've made it a very big deal to say that he had drunk something, but he was under the drink drive limit, which again is completely irrelevant considering he was not driving. This is not a driving offence that he was part of. He was walking and he was talking to inanimate objects and he bumped into Vickram Digwa, which is part of his testimony. And again, if the forensics had did a proper job, they would have actually been able to maybe get some fibres from Henry's clothes if there was any sort of transfer. I mean, even they were fighting, so there would have been some kind of fibrous transfer onto Vickram Digwa's clothing, right? And there would have been maybe some hair on Vickram Digwa in some kind of way. The only things that have been very much shown is that there was none of Henry's DNA on the knife and that there was none of Henry's DNA on the turban. Those are the only two things that we've seen, which to me is crazy because this is very much a forensic case, in my opinion, very much so. And again, there is a lot of this biasness and a lot of just really not wanting to hear anything that Vickram says. Even if you unalive somebody, if judges and trials are fair, everybody should get a case, even though Vickram Digwa has said it's self-defense. So you have to also be neutral. Hermit Sapien says, have I looked into the judge if he's associated with politics, they're meant to be neutral? No, I haven't looked into it. I don't know anything about this judge. I'm just going by what I'm reading and what I'm seeing in this instance, which again, he is not neutral. He has not done his job as a judge. Like we've also said about the jury was white presenting. Everybody on there was English besides two people. One of them was Eastern European, again, from Henry Novak's background. They would have been biased towards Henry, and somebody who was hijab, but also, again, white presenting, right? So this is obviously not going to be set up to be a very fair case. The fact that a lot of the footage was restricted and not shown entirely to the court was very, of course, unfair, which also will play into public perception on what this case actually represents. Again, like I've said 100 times now, please do go for yourself to judiciary.uk. You can look up any case and read any case and then compare it to the Digwa case, the judge's final sentencing remarks. There is a heavy amount of bias. Mimi, we've got me next now, please. Mimi, how are you, my darling?
Hi, morning. I'm glad to see that you're still on this. And thank you to the lady, Eva, that's actually gone in, done her civic duty and sat there for 2 weeks to actually listen. I think a lot of people don't understand how their judiciary works and how the system works and why it's important for us to have transparency, because this is a clear example. What is being reported is not necessarily what happened in the courtroom. And I think there has to be, maybe I need to go and look to see whether or not there were report restrictions. I suspect there were. One of the things that just jumped out to me, I did have my little script prepared, but one of the things that she just said that I find so telling, and I know this was a stitch up now, was the fact that there was a conversation between the brothers in the car. The police putting him in the car was a deliberate tactic to get him to talk, to have that evidence. Yes. I cannot stress enough to you how they should not have done that necessarily, because it's entrapment. But and however, this is why I say to my young people all the time, shut your mouths. When you are arrested, even if you're innocent, you shut your mouths because it's for this very reason. And I suspect that because they've not been able to bring that video into the court is a fact that the police recognize, or there was it would have been contested by the defense that it shouldn't have been used, but they've allowed that section of the script. This tells me everything all I need to be certain that this was a politically motivated case that's been used. And I think the transcript by the judge, when I read it, and the comments to me stood out already. Now, I'm very critical of people who tend to be critical of the judiciary and the judges themselves. I think there is an attack on judges. But, and however, we've got a case currently that we're having to examine where TISM is being considered and people are having courts, the judges are being used to push through placing people on remand in secret courts that are not open and not transparent to them, so much so that the person even accused is not even being able to mount a proper defense. I'm under no illusion, particularly under this government, that something is afoot. I think this was the useful case for them to weaponize.
Yes.
And I think we need to be critical of the fact that if the statement was read out, but you've not been able to watch the video in full, that should have been something that should have been questioned. I'm not sure if I've ever said that I've been on the jury. I've been in jury service. I was on a 3.5 month case. My case was quite a big international case, and it was at the Old Bailey. I cannot stress enough to people, one, you should make sure that you do your jury service. But two, when you are in the process of being selected, how much the court knows about you and how they use that to select the juries. I remember we spent a day arguing over whether or not 2 people could be on the jury or not. Okay, so the fact that this wasn't a jury of his peers without the knowledge of his religion automatically to me should be something that needs to be looked into. I went to nursery, primary school and secondary school with Sikhs. I've never, in all my years of living close to, not next to, but close to, known our Sikh neighbours to ever make a deal out of the fact that they carry or anything like that as well. And I think this is the only case in all of the history that's come up of this as well, which tells me it's political. And I need people to start doing some deductive reasoning here. You've got one instance of there being an altercation and the suggestion that this was used. Why has this now become the fixation of the alt-right and its media? You need to start understanding that you're being used as pawns here. Some of you are quite happy to be used as pawns, admittedly, but for the rest of us that don't swallow the drink, this is an issue. The fact as well that he had the Snapchat videos that weren't being put into the public purview now tells me all I need to know. I can't stress enough to you. Keep to yourself, keep your hands and feet to yourself and your mouth to yourself, and you'll largely come home. I'm not saying there's not the odd 1 or 2 cases, but you'll largely come home. This boy, telling him about he'll see how Essex boy is doing all the rest of it. I already know what happened. This guy was drunk. He saw someone who he thought was going to be an easy touch. He tried to bully him, and this is the natural consequences. Should he have died? No. But should he have antagonized him? No. And this is the natural consequence. We need to be looking at the wild male masculinity culture that we've got in this country. I've never been drunk in my life. I don't drink alcohol. It's not a right for someone to drink alcohol and feel that they can come and harass people or talk to people or engage with people and expect the responses that they get to be measured and proportionate to how they want it to be. You don't have that option. And I think a lot of these YT men running around here are arrogant. And unfortunately, as we've got a South London proverb, chat shit, you'll get banged. This is what happens. Not everybody is going to be tolerant. As a black woman who's the daughter of an immigrant in this country, I have a very short tolerance now of any racial abuse, any antagonism, because I know that the state and the government is not protecting me. I know it's on myself. I'm going to take actions into my own hands. And this is a consequence of what's happening. And what I did write down, going back to what I'd written, him reaffirming his faith and wanting to wear both of the pokies reaffirms to me that there was an issue in that community. I tend to find that a lot of my young people who tend to get into their faith a lot, something tends to have happened. Either they're feeling threatened by society at large or they're receiving threats locally. The fact that he was talking about Essex boys and all the rest of it tells me that he probably was feeling threatened locally. The fact that Tommy 10 names couldn't even distinguish when he was there whipping up the fervour between Sikhism and
Muslims,
Muslims
yeah.
tells me that he's in an area
Yeah.
where they were not able to make that distinction.
We did
And
have
so as a result,
somebody just come up a few days ago who actually lived in that area and said that the racial tension has been there for a very long time. So that's a very good point, and it also echoes what she had said. Yeah.
so again, I know this to be true. One of the reasons why I've really affirmed into my Black history and into my Black identity is because it's constantly under attack.
Yeah.
And I don't feel safe in this country because my politicians, I mentioned last week when I was on about Emily Thornberry with her disgusting comments about the carnival.
Yeah.
I've got the Labour Party with the Ford report that hasn't been answered. I see the treatment of how they treat Diane Abbott. I see how when I go into hospital and have given birth and experienced discrimination and nearly lost a child because of it, I have all this experience that has taught me that I have to be wary in my interactions with the state and how I can be perceived by other people. And as a result of that, I've had to double down into my identity and ingrain strength from that as well. And I'm under no illusion that this is what this young boy has had to do. Should he have unalived the person? Of course not. But we shouldn't even have to say that, because as ethnic people who are constantly under scrutiny, we know the difference between right and wrong. We have to exercise that on a daily basis. And what concerns me is a lot of people feel this is a Christian country. Not everyone's going to turn the other cheek. And I can read out scripture where they tell you that you don't have to. But again, alas, this is where we are. So again, I feel that the weaponization of this young boy's faith is telling. I think the media, in its absence of reporting the facts as they stood and not the opinion, has been telling. And I feel that we do need to start looking at the fact that as a community, what sort of justice are we getting? Are we getting the justice that we want or the justice that we need? Because I'm telling you from now, there's what people want is not necessarily what they're going to need in the future. Because if you're allowing judges to make cast aspersions in this manner, it will not bode well for you in the future.
Absolutely.
And we see this with every single community.
This is the point.
It will trickle out. They start with the most minoritized, and it's the Black community. Then you'll have the Muslim communities in the 2000s, and then now you're having other communities take their hit. And this is why, as a Black person, I'm very critical of these communities saying, "Oh, it never used to be like this." It was like that for other communities, but you were happy to fly under the radar. And one of the other things that I keep saying to a lot of people as well is there is no coincidence that we're seeing a lot of these whitey women now getting swept up into this alt-right fascism as well. It's by design. Because they're coming from whitey women.
Is this because I still don't know the term psyop, because I don't know what it means yet. I haven't done enough reading about what it means, but I have read that people are saying that this is a psyop. Is that what that is? Is that when they use this to test like public reaction and how?
Yeah, I don't think it's a psyop in this instance. I think what is happening is it's a primer. They are using it to leverage in other stuff as well. So for me, I feel like the co-opting of him as a white British guy when the guy is Polish, is telling. And then also the fact, the fact that they are ignoring the fact that the family said they didn't want this to be weaponized in this manner, again, is telling me that there's something else that's going on. A lot of whitey people don't like Polish people. Polish people are the first ones to call me the N-word, though, funny enough. But they are, when we talk about the hierarchy of race, and maybe Coffee might cover that as well, Eastern Europeans were never considered whitey in the way that they are whitey now, just like Irish people weren't as well. But where do we see the rise in the fascist areas? Ireland and in Eastern European blocs. There is a reason for this. They have that desire and that push to be classified as white. And I think some of them feel that by falling into this trap of nationalism and fascism, it will give them more brownie points with their oppressors. It doesn't work like that. And this is something, as a Black person, I can tell you, like, history shows you guys, it doesn't work like that. But one thing I just wanted to come back as well is I think it's so useful. Please, Eva, come back when you finish your phone call as well. It is useful for us to see what has happened in the court, because again, as I'm hearing stuff, I'm like, that's a red flag. If you've ever had to go into court and hear them debate submitted evidences and stuff like that and what they can take out, this wouldn't have been a conversation that the public or the jury would have been privy to. But unfortunately, if someone just had to sit through many of these, it would have been extensive, and there would have been a reason why they've taken it out. And the statement being read out as opposed to you watching is triggering for me, because I know what would have happened. There would have been something on there that damaged Henry Novak's character. And this is why when we're talking about the Snapchat videos, I want to see those Snapchat videos, because I guarantee you something on there tells him that he did antagonize this boy.
He did.
And this is why he got to the situation that he did. I'm surprised that he didn't get manslaughter rather than murder. But again, that tells me, especially what's going on in the States, I think the charging was particularly motivated as well. A lot of what I originally requested for as well is someone came up and spoke about the pokey pokey. What concerns me is the selective amnesia of this country. The pokey pokey situation is not a black situation, although it's framed as such. Okay, we often reference the Glasgow model and how it was changed from being a criminal issue to being one of societal. You are not helping yourselves or your community by trying to frame it as an issue on race, okay? I cannot stress this enough, because what happens is you then have more investment in the criminal system, so in the police, but you don't have the corresponding investments into the social programs that are needed to help quell this. We do not have, despite the Netflix series of adolescents and stuff, we have not had an adequate response to the issue of white men and its toxic masculinity, and we're not getting that now.
Jeez,
and I think
the response that they had over that is just like, let's just address that boys do act like that, and the defensiveness and the dismissal was too much. It was too. Hey, well, white boys don't do that. They don't behave like that. They bloody do. You literally just let those great children get out away from actually suffering any consequences. You've literally just done it. But I'm just going to bring up something in the comment section. So Amneet Kaur, good to see you by the way, Amneet, has said someone in our community is going to be having a phone call with Digwa and it's going to be posted. What I've said at the beginning of this chat is just I'm really concerned for the Sikh community, because they're having to do so much defensive work and so much triage themselves. They should not feel responsible in any kind of way to represent one person, because white people in their privilege, they never in their whole history have ever had to do that for themselves. Otherwise they'll be apologizing every day of the week 1,000,000 times. They wouldn't be able to do anything else.
Sorry to butt in there, Fox, but unfortunately this is what happens with communities that are proffered as the model minority. They feel that they have to go to these extremes. And again, as the black community, we know it serves no good. When they talk about black leaders or whether you're leaders and fathers and stuff, we laugh, because we know that this is a dog whistle for us to say that, you know, we are wholly responsible. But when the crimes happen in the white community, it's the person's an individual or they've got mental health. Again, this does not serve you. And this is why I keep coming back to the fact that when you're doing stuff like this, it's going to ultimately come and bite you in your ass. You cannot have it both ways. And as much as you're being told you can, YT women, look at as you mentioned, Fox, the 3 boys that raped that essayed those girls. We already have a low conviction rate for SA as it is in this country.
It's so low. It is so low. Even child essay, it's like something like 4% or something. It is so low. It's disgraceful.
So again, this idea that the police didn't want to engage with him because of his race didn't make sense, because again, that should have been a conversation about police incompetence, again, which the black community are always talking about. When you dehumanize people, you know, whether I suspect he smelt of alcohol and that's why they were kind of being dismissive of him. But even within that, that's dangerous. Do you understand? So again, there's been times when I've been on the platform and I've seen people who I perceive to be drunk, but I know I've got friends who've got really bad migraines and also who are diabetic. So I now know I've got to be careful, because me thinking that you're just drunk and you're slurring and you're walking from side to side could actually be that you're in the middle of a hypo or that you're having a TIA or something going on as well.
I need to
rattle for ages.
This is
one of the last points.
Go on, do your last point.
I'm so sorry. Is where do we go from here now? Because we've gone through this situation. We've now seen Tommy Temnames whip it up. We now see it's being utilized, and it's kicking off in Ireland because of what's happened with the other guy, who I suspect the Sudanese man has got mental health issues as well, which is why he was being moved into that hostel wherever he was. What are we doing as a society? At what point are we going to say this is the society that we want or the society that we deserve? Because at the end of the day, it's not going to get any better. These mental health services are not going to, the social programs, the mental health services are not going to be there. These men are becoming emboldened in their actions and behavior. So at what point do we say as a society it's enough and we're going to push back? Because I'm telling you, as a member of the black community, I'm not taking any, I've had to warn my youngest today, who's a black boy, that when he's out, he has to move accordingly. But by the same token, I've always made sure that my kids are in martial arts. I've always made sure that they are aware of certain stuff, because as the history of this country has taught me, we cannot walk around without having our heads on a swivel and knowing what one with the team. So
I think this is what it is it's personal responsibility, because I really feel like so much, if you're living in an 87% white country, there's only so much you can do. So like I've said earlier, well, not earlier, but other lives I've done, it's about parents. Like, what are you doing with your children or your friends' children, or like, what are you doing after school or after work? Are you actually doing things to keep people occupied? Because this is the problem, right? Living in 2026, too many kids are online these days. You know, their social skills are kind of not as good as they used to be. And they are subjected and seeing a lot more problematic material online. And it's really quite sad that when we're seeing all of the riots and stuff, it is all the older Neanderthals who are then teaching their next generation of Neanderthal to behave in the same way. So it's very difficult to come up with some kind of solution when a big portion of the population just don't want to actually come up with any solutions. They've already been weaponized to say that the left are the problem, when the left are the ones who actually do come up with the answers. Like, the left always has the answers. So all you can do is protect yourself, is to continue to use your brain, use your intellect, and focus on what you're doing and making sure that your next generation in the community that you know is going to be better. We had a woman up here 2 days ago. Her name was Auntie Jenny. And she was talking about how she had, it was a very mixed ethnic area. And she was black, from Caribbean descent, I think. And she was saying that there was an Eastern European family that moved to the area, and, you know, they had a lot of cars in the area and they weren't particularly integrating, but they took the son essentially and said, you're not going to behave like your parents, you're going to integrate with us. And the child did. The child was more, you know, friendly. And because first of all, I think she said when they first met the kid, he was jumping up and down on the cars and that. She said, don't do that, don't do that. And the kid was like, well, my parents would let me, like, we ain't run that round here. We ain't run that round. And because the child got discipline, then the kids started to actually like it, because kids need discipline. You know, we all needed discipline. Otherwise we all go fucking crazy. So, you know, even if you aren't the parents of children, I mean, I discipline kids all the time. To be honest, I bloody love it. And they love me as well, because I am the strict one, but I'm also friendly. Like my niece and nephew, they know that they can play with me, but they also know I'm the strictest one. I'm the strictest one. So, you know, it is, yeah, I'm the mum of the area too. Like I have the kids up and down and I'll always tell them off, but I'll also, you know, say, come and play with my dogs and all this. It takes a village, as people know, which is the same. It takes a village. So there's only certain things that we can do. Like I say, it is all about personal responsibility. But Eva's back now. So thank you so much, Eva, for coming back.
Sorry, just one more thing. Someone mentioned about Henry's sister having a mixed heritage child. I really need us to stop doing that, because again, where I live in South London, we've got Bermondsey down the road. There is a proliferation of mixed heritage children down there. But it doesn't mean that their parents and their family members are not going on marches and taking them down there with the Tommy Temnays.
Right.
So I need us to stop falling for this kind of like, oh, well, they've got a black or a mixed race child. It doesn't work like that. So please stop doing that.
Yeah, that's a good integration to make, actually, because in the courts, Eva had said that they dismissed Henry being racist because his ex-girlfriend's father was from Jamaica. That was actually told in the court. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, I'm not sure about his sister's son, because they don't say anything about that. I don't know if this is her child.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's interesting.
I see on the last day, hers, I don't know, maybe this is her cousin or something. Yeah, of course, she was come with the black guy. I don't know, maybe this is them's child. Because they not mention anything about Henry's sister got the mixed child.
Yeah. It probably wouldn't be relevant to the case, but like Coffee and Dreams has said, it doesn't matter if it is, because of course it's been completely taken now by these particular group of English people who are like, oh, they're race traitors and this and this. And again, it's like nobody really does care about Henry Novak. I have to say this, like all of those English people that tried to say, oh, we care. No, you don't care about Henry Novak, actually, because you would have cared about other cases that have, like, there's not a single person I can say in England right now that says they actually care about Henry Novak, because they're just trying to say things like, well, I care that, you know, a son has been unalived and a parent doesn't. Okay, Yeah, you can have empathy towards that situation, but caring is something different. Are you now going to become an activist and actually be like, right, okay, if there is a problem in the area with knife crime, what are you going to do about that situation? Like, that's real care. If you want to actually do something to change something, that's real care. Don't be performative, which is a lot of these people what they will do. I'll come back to you, Mimi and Kovi. I see your hand up as well, but I'm just going to bring it back Eva because she was answering a question before she got a phone call. So the question I asked you was, why do you think the press or judge suppressed certain details about the case? Were there any explicit reporting restrictions placed on the trial by the judge, or do you think that the media was actually focused on a specific narrative, Eva?
Yeah, of course. I tell you, the mood, everything was changed with the judge when media was carry on pushing and showing everything. Then they not say anything what Vickram say. The only was focus, he was being white boy, half, I don't know if half or I don't know how many % of blood is Polish in him. But, you know, like, this is the white boy. We have to think about his life. Like, you know, like Vickram is just a monster. They not say he's educated. They not say he's good or anything. Never got the problem with the police, like they try to say. And, you know, I think the media and everything, and I said you before, in the same day, everything happened.
Yeah.
Protest, police start talking on the media, and they just tell him he is guilty. This is everything in one day.
Yeah, so to repeat what you said earlier, it felt like the judge was being pressured to say certain things or to withhold certain things. And this was the day of the conviction, so the end of the 2 weeks?
Yeah, that was been the day when they say, I think the Thursday was been when they say you are guilty, and on a Monday they just give him sentence.
Okay, so there was 4 days or so between those two things. Okay, thank you. So I have questions, and this is what I'm trying to see if there's some kind of links, because, I mean, it's clearly done on a surface level because Vickram is a brown guy and Henry is a white guy. I know that there would have been some other interracial unalivings, of course, in history in England and maybe in the last 5 years or so, from brown or black unaliving white, right? This has happened. Of course, we had the Southport thing brought up as well. Do you think, Eva, that there were any personality traits or anything that actually came out about Henry being on the side of, like, and have any sort of like right thinking or right ideologies or anything like that? Or did it seem like he was just another innocent, well, I'll say another, even though it's quite rare still, an innocent white boy? Because the way that the right have kind of latched onto this and latched onto it so hard, is there any sort of like ideology, do you think, that lived within Henry that kind of connects the right to him in a way?
I think yes, and I was text you with that yesterday, which they cannot post, and I'm not sure if I can say that, you know, because they say you cannot post on the newspaper that, and I'm not sure if I can say, but I was text you with that, yeah.
I'll ask you in a different way.
Yes.
When there was the as part of Digwa's testimony, he mentioned that a racist slur was said to him. Was there any point in time, or like, was there a timeline as to when this was said? Like, what did Digwa say about it? When did he say that? When did he say he said that?
When he was, you know, bash him on the shoulder, and he say like, who you think, no, who you think you Paki are, or something like that, you know, like.
So was it the first thing that Digwa said he said to him? He immediately said a racial slur to him.
Yes, the mask of the time is he's been called Paki.
And so, of course, that was the part that they completely dismissed as part of, the court has said, or the jury had said, well, the judge had said that no racial slur was used by Henry. This is what they said. They ignored Vickram's testimony about it at all. What did they think then was part of the exchange of words? If they didn't think there was a racial element to it, what did they say was the reason why Henry was confrontational? Because clearly they said, the court transcript
Yes.
has said he was confrontational. What did they say was the behavior of Henry there? What did
No,
they
you
say?
know what? This what make me funny was like, oh, he was start recording you. You just snatch his phone from him and you try to rob him. You know, like I say, really, he's got better phone than he's got. Why he want a different phone than when Henry was jump on a bin, he was lost one shoes and they will start, oh, you try to rob him. I say, man, he even say on the phone, I snatch, when he was on the with the police, he say, I snatch his phone is in my pocket and he's locked the shoes. But you know, they try to say like, oh, Vickram tried to rob him.
Was it
Like, you know,
still
look like, oh,
was it still
he's
recording at
sitting,
that time? Was it recording while it was in his pocket?
not when, because he was snatched the phone when he started recording and tell him, say you are Batman, yeah? Then he stand around and start going to his side and he say, yeah, I am Batman. And he snatched his phone.
This is what's really interesting, because you mentioned the other day, I mean, you're Polish and you're very unbiased towards Polish people. And you'd mentioned that in the Polish community and Polish people are very racist. Like, this is what you'd said yourself. And you could even say that there were things that you said within your own family that you recognized. Do you think, just in your opinion then, because of course there's not really any factual evidence for this, do you think that what English people would think about Polish people is that as part of, and this is what I'm trying to get at, right, is the right need to weaponize, and they're very racist. They're incredibly racist. So
Oh, very racist.
yeah. So do you think that people's perception, or at least the right's perception of a Polish boy would be like, well, actually, we do think he did say something racist. This is why we're making him a martyr, because now we can say and we can weaponize that he was a white boy unalived by a brown guy, because there's not going to be any evidence they'll put out there that he actually said something. But we know culturally that Polish people are, which is kind of like a connection.
Of course, I was tell you on a last life, I was lose so many friends because I married the brown guy. And even as my family, they just, you know, okay, they was talking with my husband, but I know they are racist. And this is not mean like they was try to say like Henry's, I don't know, sister got the mixed child. Didn't mean the family is not racist.
Exactly. Oh yeah, a lot of us will have that same story where there'll be a white boyfriend or a white girlfriend and they'll have a mixed race child and they'll still be racist. The racism doesn't go away. It does not
I
go
can
away.
tell you, when I was been young and I was living in Poland, I was being racist because I don't know. I was listen only what people talking, oh, black or brown, they are bad, they are this, they are this. When I came here, I see the different people and I get the more help from the brown or black people than I get help from white people. And I was thinking like, oh my goodness, what I was, and this is not something what I was proud of. I never hurt anyone, but you know, like the all, like you say, I was live on a city where mass of the people is skinheads. Then you know, you carry on, listen. Until you not go out, you not meet another people.
Yes. And this
You
is
don't
why
know the
integration
truth,
is
and-
important. This is why diversity is important. And someone did bring this up the other day, actually. It was a white gentleman that was saying because he lived in a very multicultural area, it actually helped his perception. Didn't help his perception, but he just found it a benefit towards people who obviously have been brought up in very predominantly white areas, because that's what unfortunately whiteness does. It really makes you feel very afraid of black and brown people, even though there's not the history to show that we've ever been the aggressors, or you know, we're just not that people. And again, this is what white narcissism and white insecurity looks like. So it has been, of course, to the benefit of you and any other white person that has been able to live in a very diverse area. So that's a really good
this is
benefit.
also when I was said you like, if anything happened to the mixed child, which is also half Polish, if anything happened to this child, is the Polish people will stand? Not,
No.
because he is mixed.
Yeah.
He is mixed. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. They will not stand with it. Even I went Poland with my son, and the lady came to him and she said, "Why you F so brown?" black.
Jeez.
I was looking at her, I say, what are you talking about? Like, really?
So was
My husband even been attacked at my city. We went for a wedding to Poland. He's been attacking by like maybe 17, 18 years old guy, but was been like probably 40 of them.
Yeah.
You know.
So in the court, you say it was just mainly positive things that were said about Henry. It was just that he was a good boy or anything. So when it came up to the phrase of Digwa saying that he was racist, what did the defense or prosecute, actually it would be prosecution in this case, how did they combat Digwa's claims? How did they do that? Did they do it in a professional way, or did they just completely dismiss him and what he said?
That would also make me angry because they not talk much about to defend him. They not say he's also educated, he's this, he's accountant, he's got good job, you know. Never ever got any problem. And he even support the kids in the city, the Sikh kids. And never ever anyone got any problem. They also have to find what is the difference as a Sikh and as a Nihang Singh.
Yeah.
Is it, you know, they are like, I don't know how to explain that, but they are more like warrior and everything. Now they want to say like, because Vickram was training of martial art, meaning he know what to do.
Yeah.
And it's not because he did not. This is something what happened in like, this all happened maybe take, I don't think so. It's take like 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes. All this situation would happen. Yeah, maybe we can talk about ban the alcohol, because the alcohol is much the problem on any fight. Any fight.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And that is definitely a conversation. I mean, this is why people don't understand the Green Party and what they actually want to do with alcoholism and even DURGS. You know, they want to decriminalize and also criminalize. Hold on. Mainly decriminalization talks about actually how to put people back into rehabilitation for people that do have alcohol addiction or any addictions to the DURGS, right? Yeah, to me, and like I said, I've tried to be as objective as possible, is that I do believe that Henry was racist. I do believe that he made a racial comment at that moment. Again, we can talk about culturally, Polish people, we've just discussed that. We discussed also the fact that Henry was the antagonizer as well, and the fact that there was a lot of cultural things that have been targeted in this. This is not just him attacking a brown person, right? It's talking about the turban, it's talking about the kippan, right? It's talking about the Sikh community. There's no way that this can't be a racial attack at all. Race cannot be put out of this. So this is why I believe that Henry was racist, and I do believe that slurs were said because he's an 18-year-old boy. What other things are going to come out of his mind that aren't slurs? It's going to be the very basic way to try and hurt somebody. And then, of course, him seeing that he's got all these other weaponry on him is another way to get at his community. You see somebody with a turban, you know what that means. You know what that means. So what do you believe about the reasons why the case has become such a focus for the country? Obviously, this happened in December last year. We're talking about it now. We've been talking about it for a few days. Do you have any reasons as to why we are still talking about it now?
Probably because this is first happened with this Sikh person who's using his weapon, and the guy is half, or I don't know how many % is Polish. And, you know, he's going, that's why he's like, they never talk about another. We didn't hear much about the white boy who killed who stabbed the students, yeah? We not heard that much about that.
Yeah, Chaz Corrigan, exactly. It's all about distraction. And again, this is about vilifying yet another community because, like as you say, the Sikh community has never come under fire before. I think this is all just very, very sad.
Like, you know, the Polish people is standing there now. Yesterday I was read the comment, my husband, we got 6-month-old child. He's been arrested on a protest in Southampton. He did nothing. Man, no one arrests you for free
Yeah. Somebody
for
in the
doing nothing.
someone in the comment section has just asked, Asha, is there any evidence of slurs? And also judge and jury has said, what was the slur and was there any evidence? And this is the interesting thing. I'm going to assume that they're white people that say that, because black and brown people, we know exactly. We don't even have to question each other when it comes to slur. If somebody said something racist, we know it's true. We know it's true, but white people always need an evidence. And even when you have the evidence on video, they'll say, oh, it was said with banter, or they didn't mean it that way. They're just an ignorant person. There's always an excuse that comes out. Look, for example, we're going to bring up black people for a minute. We're going to bring up the N-word. When they say the N-word, they'll say, well, it's okay because you guys use it in music. We don't use it in music. Certain group of black Americans use it in music. We don't all use that word. Millions of people around the world don't use that word. It doesn't mean it's an excuse for you to use it. I'm not going out here using slurs that for gay people or brown people or Muslim, like nothing. I don't use slurs for anybody. I don't even like I only call stupid English people like some derogatory names sometimes because they just do stupid stuff. And so I do. But it's not slurs to do anything to do with your skin or your hair or your features. Like yesterday, I dropped somebody or I muted them because he was then making comments about white people's skin. I said, don't do that because you're also as bad as what racist white people are. You will never find me saying, anything derogatory personally about white people. And they'll always say, oh, well, Fox, you hate white people. And I say, no, don't say that. Don't put words in my mouth. I'm very critical of English people. I'm very critical of white supremacy and white narcissism, what it looks like. But as I said many times, and as you heard me say, Eva, about how much, even though you say that Polish people are racist, I still be like, yeah, I love Polish people.
I did not say same. I am Polish. I'm not say I hate them, but I know they are racist. You know, and
Still
this
be
is
real.
what happened. They not say to you they are racist. They will be nice to you, but when they're going away from you, they will start talking.
Which is
It's
funny
like-
to me. That's absolutely funny to me because I hear a lot of course, people say, well, I love English people, and I'll say the same thing. Well, don't do that because they're racist. It's the same conversation. Same conversation. Right, I'm going to open it up as well, back up to the panel. Does anyone have any other questions about the case, or anyone in the comment section as well that wants to ask some questions? Mimi.
I'm so sorry. I know. Lola's in as well. Morning, Lola. There were some comments that I just wanted to make quickly, and then allow probably Lola to come in. So going back to my point about the use of the mixed race nephew as a prop or niece, I'm not sure if it's a niece or a nephew. This is very key, because one of the things that would have been used by the prosecution is to remove or strike out any accusation that Henry was racist. So when they would have been arguing their motions and what could and couldn't have been entered in, this would have been used to say, well, he's got a mixed heritage niece or nephew. That wouldn't be the case here. It also frames the investigation from the police side as well. So one of the things that you would have looked at, and again, this is why I suspect heavily that they removed the Snapchat videos, is this idea that, well, because you've got a family member in your immediate family who is black or who would be perceived as black societally, means that you can't be racist, which we as black people know is not the case. And Eva has just demonstrated herself. It would have framed how the police constructed the whole case around Henry, framed his behavior and interactions with Vickram. And that is why I feel that what the judge said is telling about him. You know, he's tried to excuse, I think he knows that this will be an issue if they were to appeal it. So that's why in his speech, he talks about, he didn't say drunk. He said he would use some words. There was a statement you kept reading out last week about what the comments. That's why the judges referenced that, I suspect. And then also the reason why, it's important is because it wouldn't have allowed Vickram to have mounted a proper defense, because if you can't talk about his racism because he's got this niece or nephew, then it doesn't lead to his motivations in why he was trying to defend himself and why he was attacked by Henry in the first instance. So for those of you saying, oh, it's not about race, and these are things that we talk about within the black community a lot, is someone saying that they've got a black relative or a friend does not excuse them or absolve them of their racist behavior or beliefs. And we've just heard Eva confirm the same thing. I mentioned South Point earlier is because, again, it's telling there's another judge that is being positioned in this, or providing a position statement that is distracting away from the failures of the state, similar to how we've got it in this case with the police not doing their job, and pushing it onto the parents or onto the community. We saw this in Southport. There was reference to the parents' heritage and then being refugees and then failure to call the police. You are not going to call the police who've already failed your child multiple times to get help when you know that you're going to have to contend with their own racism or institutional racism versus the mental health of your child. This is important for us to realize that, again, this is what I said earlier. It's the society you want versus a society that you're going to get. And this is dangerous because if you think that you're any safer because Vickram's in prison, you're not. In fact, you're worse. And so when we go back to this, we have to be careful. And the last point as well is you spoke about them being on the university campuses when we were talking to Covey about what was happening in the UAE. One of the ways, I'm looking at my old textbooks of when I used to run 2 youth clubs, so we used to have training around this. One of the ways that we talk about de-radicalization of white youth in particular, or white men in particular, is we talk about the fact that when they are introduced to people that they perceive as being less than them, it's often a way for them to have that veil that's been put up through the radicalization online in particular being removed. When they are being exposed to the people that they're being taught to hate, and they're realizing that they're not acting in the manners or the ways that they've been told online. Sorry, you might hear my cats fighting each other. Sorry, it's that time of the day. That's one of the ways that they become de-radicalized. And that is why we see the uptake in universities being used as a weapon, a battleground by fascist and racist groups to have access, to be able to platform, to be able to go on and have their groups formed. And this is why we saw with the Charlie Kirk situation, Charlie Kirk was at university. He was then approached by his company to set up Turning Point, giving them around £4 million, I think it was. And this is why we see Turning Point having a UK arm, and they're on UK campuses. We have Turning Point UK. So again, one of the other ways that we have in this country for young people who probably don't even mix with people out of their social class and groups, not to mention ethnicity, are mixing with each other is like universal access to university. And when Tony Blair brought out, the student loans and stuff, which I'm heavily critical of, it also leveled the playing grounds for students who couldn't get access before to go to university. And it dispels this myth that black people are thick or these ethnic groups are thick because they're in the same university and same courses as you. So they can't be thick because they're holding their own in the same classrooms and lecture theatres as you. So it's deliberately an attack. These guys don't just do this stuff overnight. They're planning it. They're planning 20 or 30 years ahead. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah. Thank you for that. AB93 in the comments section. Please go to judiciary.uk for the final sentencing remarks of His Honour Judge William Mosley. We are the ones who only work with facts around here, AB93. Let's read this. So, Judiciary of England and Wales, His Honour Judge William Mosley KC, Honorary Recorder of Southampton and Resident Judge. This is, by the way, the King versus Vickram Singh Digwa. Okay, so the King is also the representative here. Like I said, I did random clicking around on the website to see who's actually representing these people. The King is the representative of Henry Novak in this instance, which will also tell you something else. And also, as I've mentioned, the way that this final sentencing remarks has been written in order for public consumption. It is very easily digestible. It is also very, in terms of how you would read it in comparison to other trials, it is night and day. It is night and day. Let me show you, for example. So like I said, I've got the Henry Novak and Vickram Digwa case here, and I can show you the difference between that and the Chaz Corrigan case, okay? So this is what the final sentencing remarks looks like. You see how it's written? So it's actually written as if we were right there in the court talking to Vickram Digwa. So it starts, of course, stand up, please. Henry Novak, aged 18, passed away 3rd of December 2025. He was a much-loved, kind and hard-working, ambitious young man, devoted to his family, etc., etc. You, Vickram Digwa, took his life away. You are 23. You had no previous convictions. It goes on for another 5 paragraphs talking about how amazing Henry was as a person. You see how long these paragraphs are. So they're trying to tell you that Henry was an innocent person. And it's only until paragraph 9 do they start talking about the case. Let's go to Chaz Corrigan's case, okay? So this is, again, talking the facts. Look at this. Mr. Judge Dexter Diaz, Mohammed Al-Ghassim, was a student from Saudi Arabia. He came to Cambridge. He met some friends. The first man asked the group something, exchange. So they're talking about the case straight away, the facts. Then it goes down to the conviction. Chaz Corrigan was born, la la la. Documents considered. Go down, legal framework. Keep going down. Findings, aggravating factors. You see how completely differently this is written. And most of the cases that I clicked on were written exactly in this same way. Very unbiased, very matter of fact, right? But again, this is somebody who has just been convicted for 22 years. Chaz Corrigan was convicted of 22 years for his assault, which was completely unaggravated. It was a random attack. And this is how the case is supposed to be written. This was an aggravated attack, and yet it was written in this way. And this is why it is very important for us to discuss these things. Like I say, I am all about truth, justice, and democracy. This is what truth, justice, and democracy looks like. If you cannot see cases objectively, and like Mimi has said, if you are not willing to look at what the justice system actually looks like, and you end up in a situation, don't think that you're going to be represented fairly, because you are the people that say, oh, well, Vickram was okay. You know, the case for Vickram is okay because he's guilty. We don't need to look at anything else about him.
Typical effery, like even just having to read through 5 paragraphs of how good he is.
Yeah.
And anyone, they've actually said, it's just the contradiction as well, because who are the jurors? Because for Carmelo Anthony's case, it was an all-white jury. That already is a problem in itself. The fact that you can't even diversify the people that are enough so their views are not skewed for the case. And then you write this paragraph, you confirm there's no CCTV to pick up the dialogue that happened between them outside of you're a bad man, I'm not a bad man, whatever. So how do you know this man literally didn't walk past this guy and say the N word or the P word, whatever slur that came to mind? It's just crap and ball. And for me, there's nothing you can say to convince me that nothing happened pre him bringing out his phone after he'd already done or said what he'd done. You cannot convince me that. Yeah. And this is the problem. This is the exact meaning of two-tier system. But the problem is they love to use gaslighting as a weapon. And I just ain't got the emotional bandwidth for it this week, because it is actually BS.
It's like we have to start thinking about how we would defend ourselves in racism if it's not filmed, if it's not evidenced, right? If it's not there, it really puts us on a back foot, especially because they've weaponized it so much, right? They've said, because Digwa said he was racially abused and they dismissed it, that they're going to say, well, anybody now who comes up and says that they're racially abused, again, if it's not in evidence, then we're just going to say that black and brown people are playing the race card, which is what they've always said about us when it comes to racism. This is a very, very terrible time and terrible situation now on that front. Continue, LB.
They contradict themselves at every window. And you've got white women in the comments there tweaking at their head defending this. When you know what just happened less than 24 hours ago? You got white women defending this, when the same white woman would go on another live or go on under another page and accuse the men because they've gone through SA, but the law has also failed them because police officers have asked for evidence and there is no evidence for you being groped. So it's crazy that you have to literally borrow yourself some cognitive dissonance to you to not understand that two things can be true at the same time. Yes, people lie every day, right? There can be false allegations or false case, but we've been through, a lot of us have been through stuff that you cannot prove. Yeah. You cannot prove certain passive aggressive. You cannot prove when someone says a slur and there's no CCTV. So for me, it's just bullcrap. And now they're setting Belfast on fire because of that Sudanese man that attempted to behead, we love TikTok shot, that guy. Look at how they're reacting. But when we spoke about when people were saying they were going to protest or go out on the street for Eve Sakila, it was like, oh no, it's ridiculous. And then they hijack our terms, they hijack us kneeling down. It's just antagonistic, nasty, vile behaviour,
And this is
and the law
why I
is
said
following
that
suit.
they would defend Henry at every cause, because white people or English people are antagonists. They always have been, historically and presently. So when they would see some kind of familiarity in Henry, of course they would say, no, we're not. And I refuse to believe anything about Henry being antagonatory, because that's all they've ever done, is just said that they're not those sort of people. So yeah, I think it's very, I don't know, man, like times are too tough, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. It makes me feel so sad. So sad. And it just feels so horrible that how was we as humanity still in this position in 2026? Why is there still a group of people on this planet that just hasn't evolved? And why are we always the victims of their bullshit? Like, why are we always on the end of it? Why? I fucking hate it so much. So much. I really hate it, and I need the powers to be to just like explode the planet, just explode it and start again, or don't even bring us back.
But that's part of, we spoke about this yesterday, LB and I was on another panel, and we spoke about the mental fatigue is on purpose, the deliberate wearing down mentally, or everything, every single thing in this society, community we are having to fight as Black people. It's deliberately designed to frustrate. And that's why a lot of us, we're not even able to sort of plan or strategize, because they deliberately want you having to jump from the next fire to the next one to the next one. But unfortunately, a lot of us are tapping out, and that is why you will see certain people in the communities, myself included, say, we have warned you about this Muslim minority myth. We have warned you that we will not get anywhere being next to each other. And whilst I will fully come out and say that Vickram did not deserve to be in prison, this was a case to me of, you know, what's gone on, I have to be mindful that the same community are bending over backwards to try and prove that they aren't like the other community that's normally targeted. You're not serving yourselves by doing this. In fact, you're making it worse. Because what we then find is what happens is when you've got that guy who was following Tommy Ten Names around, who was there doing up, oh, he doesn't do halal meat in his restaurant. Now he's falling out with Tommy Ten Names, but you've already given him the authority and the authenticity and legitimize his movement.
This is it.
It's scary. It is scary because you're not helping yourself or your community in the long run. Because we know history, there's too much history that's shown us that when communities align themselves in this manner, you are then, because once they've gotten rid of one, it's that poem, first they came for the unionists, first they came for the Black people, then when it came for me, there was no one left. We know what happens. And if you're not unified in your fight against that, then you are a threat to all of us because you're being used to be weaponized and legitimized in this manner. It's dangerous. And in the same way now that Vickram couldn't get justice because Henry was able to say, oh, he's got a mixed heritage niece or nephew. Do you see? It's scary. And then the gag about it is, as Black people, we're online and we're telling them this is what's happening. We're telling them. And they're like, oh, you just hate white people. We don't even think about you like that, to even care about you, to hate you. What we're saying is that you're a threat to us. And then it comes back to what was being said. I said earlier about my children having to do martial arts. One of the things that they've got to do is have insurance and a license every year to say that they won't use their hands and feet as a weapon because they've been trained. But then it also puts them in a bind where I've had to go up to the school recently and say to them, I know that my youngest wouldn't have attacked this person in this manner because if he had, the person would have been in hospital because he's of a certain grade and belt. So again, I'm having to unpick the sense out of the nonsense constantly and saying to them that if my child wanted to hurt you, he's been trained to do so, but he's also trained in restraint. And that's why when they said that Vickram walked away, I could guarantee he probably did. Because he knew, I'm in a position where this guy's probably drunk, he's not got his full senses, and I've also got my religion and my ethnicity that I've got to wear. We know as Black people, when we engage with whitey people who have been offensive towards us, we've got to think and think again. Yeah. It doesn't work. It's not equal to us. So this is why I'm saying, like, when they're saying what's happened, I can believe it without even having to be there. as a black person,
because
I
we
have
the
to go through the
history.
same.
We have the history, we have the experience that has gone on for hundreds of years. I'm just going to bring up in the comment section, it's a black telect. I don't understand the point of your username. I don't know if you are black, because honestly, you're not sounding black. Like, you're making a lot of excuses for racism down there. Like we've literally just been talking about this, and apparently you've been sitting here in this live and not listening to a single word we've actually just been saying. Like, it's a black telect. Why are you even here? We talk very clearly, we talk very concisely, we talk about history, we talk about experience, we talk with facts and evidence. We've just said the reason why we believe the word would have been said. We've said that. We've talked about our own personal experience. And as Eva has said, is in the terms in the court, or what the court said, they dismissed racism just because Henry had a family member that went out with somebody of a different colour. We literally just explained this. Racism is not just felt, it is experienced. It is ways that we live our life every single day. It's not just felt, for goodness sake. I think you actually need to do a little bit more listening.
Because Mimi was saying that Vickram was walk away from him. Yeah, we see that on a Snapchat video. He's walk away from him.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like...
He walked away. Vickram walked away. It was said in the news, in the reports, that Vickram walked away. He was walking away. He was being antagonized by Henry. He was pursued by Henry. We saw this. Right, we've also got Nat, who's on the panel as well, please. Nat, what would you like to add to the conversation, please?
Hey, Fox. Hey, Mimi. Hey, LB. Hello, Eva. I just came up because I heard you guys say earlier, I missed it, about his cat's got a Jamaican cat friend or something. Like, can you just go through that bit for me again? Where exactly is that coming from? Because I can't find it anywhere. But basically, you're saying that the judge concluded he couldn't be racist because he's got some sort of proximity to blackness.
Eva?
Is there a source for that?
His ex-girlfriend, I don't know, father, he's been mixed with Jamaican, or he's been Jamaican. But I know his ex-girlfriend, someone.
Oh, so were you at the court, Eva?
Yes.
She was there for the full 2
so
weeks.
it hasn't come out into the
Yeah, she
public
was
domain
there
yet.
for the full 2 weeks. That's why she's been with us, and she came up 2 days ago talking about the case and the things that she saw. And again, because I've been using my platform to talk about how biased it was, Eva has confirmed a lot of the thoughts and feelings that I had around the case. The only thing that I found has been quite different from what I made an assumption. I assumed that his turban was pulled off, because we talked about how tightly they were. But Eva has said, and also we had Bollywood had said, that there are different types, of course, and there was 3 layers of turban, which was probably wrapped loosely. But there is also this idea that maybe it could have been punched off instead, which will also add to the racial element. And I did do some research to understand that there were still no fingerprints found on Vickram's turban. There was no fingerprints on that, neither it was on the weapon or also on the sheath as well, because they did DNA on that. However, it doesn't seem that they did any DNA regarding any fibre transfer through clothing or any other bodily contact. Vickram Digwa, of course, said he was punched in the face. If you do proper forensics, they should have done at least some kind of DNA testing or swab around the area to see if there actually was any contact, because then it would also back up what Vickram was saying. But again, I feel the case was heavily biased based on the transcripts, based on the kind of testing, based on the fact that the jury was all white, presenting at least. It was 10 English people, and one was Eastern European and another was a hijabi, but again, she was white presenting. So there's a lot of biasness in this case. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Eva, for actually taking the time to go to the court. I feel like more of us need to kind of get involved in that sort of stuff. So thank you very much. I'm going to drop back down, but have you guys gone through the phone? Because apparently, after Henry was trying to film him, the guy snatched Henry's phone. I don't know if Eva's able to.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes.
But to go over. Okay. Brilliant. Thanks. Keep up the good work. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Nat. Thank you.
Another thing was, I don't know what is, Herman Kapoor or something. He's with Tommy Robinson. He just say he was been in a courtroom. No, he did not. He did not been in a courtroom. I saw him in the last day. He's been in a court, but they did not let him go into the courtroom.
They refused to let him come in because they knew it would cause problems, I assume.
No, because also was been too many people. They not let everyone in. But he just sprayed the lies. What I was saying, he was saying that Digwa's family was being racist to the Henry's family, but was being not that was being them side racist to Digwa's family.
Thank you for that point. Okay, we've got Issa the Black Select on the panel. What would you like to add, Issa?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to clarify what I was saying. My point was that I don't want the black side to have any arguments that can be countered, etc. I'm thoroughly aware that the whole thing was racist. What my point is that when I'm debating and examining, I will look for the arguments that the opposition can use first. So, for instance, when I'm listening to the whole phone call and the operator asks him, what did he say that was racist? They were stumbling, right? And you could hear the brother Vickram in the background also like he was saying it not with the conviction. Me as a black man, I know if somebody called an N-word after they're on the floor on their back, if someone's asking me, my first thing I'm going to say, they called me the N-word, that's why they're on the floor. Do you understand? So the whole conversation, like the way that they would explain it, that's why I said it seems that they felt by the way the guy may have approached him, it was a racist thing. You know, like we can commonly tell like the attitude of somebody who hasn't said anything racist. It's just a body language, a vibe that we can get without it. And one of the reasons they may not say it is because they think they may be filmed.
So
do you understand? Because of the cameras.
The thing you're saying this is because of the brother being on the phone call saying it.
Yeah.
But
so when he was asked,
the brother wasn't there though. The brother wasn't there. It was
no, but Vickram is in the background.
If they asked Vickram may have been the one to say, you know, something was said to me. And maybe I feel like there's kind of a shame as well. I don't want to make assumptions, but you've just said if you said something to you, for me, I've had racial experiences before, and I don't like it when they ask me what exactly was said because I don't want to say it. But I don't want to say it. If they're asking me what's being said, it also brings up a lot of emotion for me. Even me talking about it now is making me feel very emotional. And it's not happened to me where someone has said an actual slur to me. There's been racist behavior that's happened to me that I've had to call the police and say a certain situation that's happened. So I think, yes, in your position, of course, you would have said something, but I think also just to play devil's advocate, which is what I'm trying to do here anyway, is present and not assume that everybody can be as open about racial slurs, because some of us have a lot different relationship with it. Like I've mentioned about the N-word before, I will never say it in a song. I will never say it. It's never left my lips, that word. So even saying the N-word, I fucking hate it. Like I hate it. So yeah, there's always that side to it as well.
And I also, sorry, Issa, 1 second. It also lends itself to what I said about the model minority. Now, as BLK people, we are at one with the fact that we're living in a racist country, okay? But if you've been taught that you're the model minority, keep your head down, you see a lot with a lot of Asian groups who feel that, you know, and Chinese as well, Asian Chinese as well, that if they just keep their heads down, they can be immune to that. You hear them talk about race card and stuff. We don't tend to refer to that because we know there's no such thing as a race card.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry, it's just because Mimi has to go to work. Eva has to go to work now.
Oh, my love. Sorry.
Yeah. Let's say goodbye to Eva, please. Eva, again, thank you so much for coming by again and being really honest with us about what actually was said in the courts. I really appreciate your time, really appreciate your honesty and your candor, everything about this. Really, really thank you. So everybody in the chat, please, can you say thank you to Eva? Give her some gifts as well, by the way, because she's done a lot of work here. She was there for 2 weeks.
No, don't worry about gifts. I'm not here for a gift, really, but I just want the people, you know, understand the both sides, not only one side.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like I stand here because I know Vickram, I stand with him. It's not, but he needs justice. Like this what we need everywhere.
Yeah.
Not only because of this. Because I know if same happened to Vickram, this not be highlight like this is now.
Yes, exactly.
Because this is just another brown person lost the life. This is just brown person. Why?
Exactly. this is not about defending someone who unalives someone. This is about truth, justice, and democracy.
Yes.
This is all it is. It's
Exactly,
everybody
And
is entitled to fair
next time when
representation.
you need me or something, just let me know. I will try. I am truck driver, then I'm not doing easy job, and I have to go. Yes.
Thank you so much, Eva. Thank you so much, and you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Before I forget, Sissy, you just mentioned something that sparked my memory.
Yeah.
Do you remember I think it was in lockdown where a police officer put a whitey lady in handcuffs and took her unalived her, raped, and so on. Do you remember? You don't remember that?
Go ahead.
So he used the COVID situation. So what my point is, if they really wanted to, what's her name? So I can't remember her name. So during COVID, Sarah, that's it.
Oh,
so a police officer said,
oh, I didn't know she was getting cuffs. Oh.
Yeah, apparently he put her in cuffs. But either way, my point is he took her without her permission, right? And I'm saying if there's a time when YT people want to complain about police and police behavior, as an example, that would be it.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Not where they're perceiving somebody to be drunk and doing everything, to me, the whole point is, you could say the police as a whole, my argument has been the police as a whole, they're reckless anyway. Yeah. They're a gang, they do their thing, right? So that's why they behaved the way they did. Not because they thought, let's go to the extra mile because we want to appease these so-called minorities. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's the thing for me where, like I said, I'm trying to make sure that whatever argument we put, they don't have nothing to say back. So therefore, I want to put it first and say, okay, maybe they didn't say the P word, blah, 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 but you're not one of us, and you all have learnt to do your little sneaky, sly, racist thing without saying, what did he say that's... Because they always say about Tommy, what's he said that's racist? Tell us. Do you see what I mean? They always say that. Yeah. These savages always doing this thing. So for me personally, my policy is fight racist with racism. I've got a list of racist terms for all different non-black people, and I encourage black people to have them, because you do want to go home. Because when they say the N-word, a lot of us, for weeks, that will be on our mind. But when I've come up with things like, leprous, albinoid, blah, 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 I've got a whole list, whatever.
Okay.
Their faces.
You want to put that on a website or something? Put it on a website and share the link with people. Because how I do it, and actually I'm going to tell people my next live what I'm planning on doing. I'm planning on doing Ask Me, and I haven't actually told my mods yet. I've actually got the draft. I'm going to let anybody come up here and ask me anything. And also I'm going to ask the mods not to censor anybody, because I literally want to see, well, not what to see, I want the world to see what racists and racism actually looks like, right? Because you don't even have to say anything. We know this. You don't have to say anything or do anything for racists to be racist. So I'm going to let them just say whatever they want to say, be however they want, just so we can actually see them in their entirety. Because these Neanderthals are however they are Neanderthals. And have you seen, if you want to tackle them in the way by saying things like that, leprous, abused, savages.
Have you seen them yesterday?
Sorry?
In Northern Ireland. Did you hear about Northern Ireland?
Yeah,
I've got to go. I just came to clarify that I am very pro-black. For those who know me, I fight racism with racism. We've tried all to turn the other cheek and just ignore them. It's just words, all that. We've heard that from school days, right? Nothing's worked. The only thing I've ever seen, these devils shut their mouth because they're like, But guess what? For those who don't know, guess what? You see, when they're calling us SHIT skin again, imagine the people with the melanin, God's skin. If you want to call it something, it's God's skin, right? Not albino-wise deficient, recessive.
The thing is, though, I understand your point, but your insults are too clever for these Neanderthals. These guys see me insult them all day, every day on here. They see me, and you've been here before. You see the shit that I say to them. I do things in a different way. So everybody, and you're right, you're absolutely right. Every person who is black or brown, you should find a way to fight back with any way that you feel is appropriate, right? And obviously we're talking about this case and situation. In that moment, Vickram Digwa felt like this was his way to fight back somebody who was coming at him, and he was coming at his religion, absolutely was, because he was filming the kirpan, And of course, his turban was knocked off in this situation. You don't see a Sikh person and don't think that there's nothing as part of a racial antagonist behavior towards them. He obviously saw somebody who was brown and very as a faith. I mean, it's like you wouldn't go up to somebody that's like a priest, for God's sake, that's got the collar on, or like a pope. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. He literally chose a Sikh person wearing a turban and had a kippah. That's just massively disrespectful. So yeah, everybody needs to find out a way that they can actually fight against the racists, fight against racism in a way that feels appropriate. Again, we've talked about fuck around and find out. That's what we're talking about, fuck around and find out. For me, like I say, I just verbally humiliate these people. For me, it's worked very well. It's a black intellect has got actual like verbal insults as well. So whatever you feel is appropriate. And they always go running anyway. They always go running. Honestly, they're very weak people.
Yeah.
They're very weak
Can
people.
I bring up something?
Fragile.
Can I bring up
But
something?
peace and love to the panel, sister. Peace and love to the panel listeners. Thanks for letting me up. Take care. God bless.
I'm
Can
going
I
to
bring
end
up
this
something?
live in like probably 5-10 minutes as well. So
Can I
last
bring up
comment.
something?
Yes, later.
Can I bring up?
Yes.
Yeah, you know what happened in Northern Ireland yesterday.
Yeah.
Now they burn out. You know the brown and black skinned people. They burned their houses last night.
Yeah. I thought it was just local people. Did they actually target brown and black people?
Yeah, yes, they burned their houses. That's what I was trying to tell you guys, man. Something serious is more happening. You know.
Yeah.
They did that before last year, so this is not new. Do you understand? So this is why.
But this time they're targeting brown and black.
But they did that last time before. People were putting signs up in their windows saying that they worked for the NHS in Northern Ireland when this happened last year.
Yeah, yeah, they're burning brown and black people's houses, dragging them out and burning their houses. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to read more. As I said, I've not seen much. I only just saw that it was a Sudanese guy who tried to do that thing to the guy in the day, and that he's going to be in court. Like, that's the only thing that I've seen about it so far. Yeah, it's just disgraceful, right? We've got AFC Lee on the panel, and then we will wrap.
You see, they're using the race thing, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's been a long time coming. Actually, not even a long time coming. It's never gone away.
And the thing is, people in England might copy. You know, and I heard there was some incidents in Scotland as well, you know, so it might spread down.
We've had this conversation at the right beginning of this. A lot of the Celtic families, the Irish and the Scottish, are coming together to kind of be the similar mindset. Again, this is what happens when you have the oppressor still around you in the Anglo-Saxon. You end up becoming the Neanderthal again. Yeah. AFC Lee, what would you like to add? And then Mimi's got some comments that she also wants to make.
Good morning. I'm going to go a little bit, not off topic, but I need advice from you guys on the panel because I've been listening to you all morning. And
anyway, I'm going to drop down anyway. So
you lot are brilliant. I have a situation and I would like to know how, as a black man in this country, to deal with it, okay? So I volunteer as a football coach for the youngsters, the youth. I've been doing it for over 25 years. This past season, I've had many times on the sidelines where I've had loads of racial comments, the N-word slurs being used and everything. I've reported it to the local FA and I've reported it and progressed it towards the FA. The last instance being 8 weeks ago. I've heard nothing at all. Now, it's something which makes me I talk about it and I'm shaking, do you know what I mean? Because, you give your time out to the community and try to give something back in, and then all you get is just abuse. What annoys me is that they have young referees, and if a comment's made to a young referee, i.e. they're shite at what they're doing, they come down very heavily on there. But when you try to bring up any racial remarks and, we've had statements put in, welfare officers, the whole lot, but you get not even an acknowledgement of an email to say, oh, we've acknowledged your thing. It comes to a point where I'm sitting down there worried about next season, thinking I'm going to go against these teams again, and sooner or later I'm going to jump over the sideline and fly kick him in the throat.
Yeah,
but then I'm the aggressor.
Mimi's got a response to that in the comment section. Mimi, do you want to verbalise your advice?
Yeah, I've run youth clubs before. I've got my level 1 coaching for children. You remove, so when it happens, you log it with the ref. You say to them that if it happens again, you'll be withdrawing the kids as it's a safeguarding issue. And the protocol was that you remove the children, and it's the ref supposed to either go and speak to the other team's manager to say that they need to speak to or remove the party. If they don't do that, then you withdraw and you forfeit. But then you can also appeal the forfeiture and you say to them it was because of the racism. So you should be removing your children because it's a safeguarding issue for them as well. If they're hearing the racism, that's a safeguarding issue for them. So they shouldn't be even privy to it.
Yeah. AFC, I'm sorry to interrupt AFC, but there's a violation thing that just came up through your account for something quite serious. So I did, I did just, so I am going to disconnect you, okay? But if you, I don't know what that means, but I've just so I can tell you. So I'm going to disconnect you. If you want to come back up.
The words he used.
Oh, is it the words used? Yeah. So you can come back up again, but you can also hear the, answer of what, of course, Mimi has given. And I think that's absolutely right. You also have to educate your children at the same time, because of course your children may or may not be old enough to understand what racism means and how it represents itself, right? So because the kids will just be disappointed if they don't get to play. So I'm hoping as part of this, you're also educating the children to say, this is racism and we don't accept it. We have the ability to walk away from these situations. We don't need to stay around these Neanderthals, right? That's also something that you can do. As part of that, but I'm also gonna let up. So you and you again. As I say, I'm wrapping up now. AFC Lee. How did that sound for you in terms of your advice?
Do you know what? That's brilliant. And I have gone down that channels before. Funny enough, 3 years ago, we done that and I withdrew my players off the pitch. I got a 6-match ban and £100 fine for bringing the game into disrepute.
Unfortunately, this is the disadvantage about living in a majority white country. There's only so much you can do. There's literally only so much you can do.
It's about pride at the end of the day. At the end so you got the ban, you got the fine. I would have said to them, I would have highlighted the fine. I would have gone to places like Kick It Out. There's a few of the other FA guys that are quite good actually, that we refer to when stuff like this happens. I don't deal with football anymore, thank God. It was a punishment to me being on that. But I was very adamant that before the match, after the match, that if there was anything, it's not even just racism. If there's any trying to coach the kids from the sidelines, any of that BS, I was not having it, because my kids want to play and they want to have an experience. So if the parent is trying to live their life through the proxy of the child, then they're not safe to be around the children. So you make that very clear, and you write to when you start your season, you write to your clubs and to whoever you're kind of the system you're going through, and you say to them, this is the stance. You're not a big FA Premiership club where you've got obligations from your advertising companies and stuff.
We're a small
so exactly.
So
you state your boundaries from the beginning. This is not acceptable. The part of what should be happening as well is the coaches should be talking to the parents and saying to them that if there's any of this stuff that happens, it will not be tolerated. My youngest plays rugby. It's the same there with the middle class parents. Anyone who's trying to coach the kids from the sides or doing any of that stuff or coming onto the pitch, God forbid, it's stopped, we're gone, because we have that standard. Okay, so it's there. So if you got the fine, that's fine. Everyone does a whip round, you pay it, and you take the points, and you make a point of saying to the league that you're not going to engage with that league until they sort out their issue.
Be firm with it.
As well,
be firm with it.
I think the main thing is as well is where I am. I mean, I'm in a little rural village in Northamptonshire, so you can imagine. You know, myself and there's 6 other people of my colour that lives in the village. So already you can see that there's
It probably feels like you've got a hard work to do, and it feels quite lonely, I could imagine. If you're a person, thank you, exactly, Black Mimi, it starts with one, and you can feel like there's a lot of weight on your shoulders when it feels like that. And I have to tell you, I'm an outlier. I've done a lot of stuff by myself. I have this platform. I feel like I'm one of the very few people, if not the only person, who's literally putting their neck on the line by saying certain things. But at the same time, you know that you empower others when you actually are the person that stands up to make change. So I hope that you feel inspired sometimes or some way in your daily life by other people who also do the same kind of things, right? We are activists. We are not the ones who actually want to let these things slide, because we want to be part of the change. We want to make sure that everybody gets respect. People should get respect. Like, that should be a basic thing about life, right? Is that everybody should be respected, and that's what we're asking for. We're just asking for respect. You're just asking for respect, and you have every right to ask for respect. And I know that you just want to focus on the football, right? That's all you want to do. You want to focus on the kids and making sure that they're having a good time. But at the same time, know that these kids are also looking up to you in the way that you're fighting for this too at the same time. And they will remember you as well. Long after they finished their training with you, they'll be like, oh yeah, my coach said this and my coach do that. So always think about the fact that you're doing it for the kids as well.
Well, I've got 20-year-old kids that I used to coach when they were 5, 6, 7 years old, who are now joining my coaching team and getting involved in coaching as well through that. So, you know, that's the kind of positive things that I try and keep in there. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, we just persevere as people, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. That's all we do. We just persevere. But it's always important to have that balance, though, and just remember that we're not fighting all the time, right? I know it might feel like it, especially now, but just to always remember the points of joy every single day, the things that make you happy, the things that make you smile. After this, I'm going to stuff my face with like the most beautiful food, and I'm just going to really unwind and relax, because, you know, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in my head. I'm ADHD. So when I don't want to think about stuff, my brain says, no, your brain is on and you need to talk about this subject and do this and do this. But I always make sure that there is a balance. And when I need to talk about stuff, I talk about things, because then I'm not even thinking about it anymore. So that's the thing. So I'm glad that you came up and asked the question and asked for some advice. Yeah, I actually meant to start this, and this is very frustrating, because my moderators know. Thank you again to my wonderful moderators, is that I've been wanting to talk about Black subjects for quite some time. Unfortunately, it started with Eve Sakila, the tragic unaliving of him in public, that we still have not got justice for. So it started with that. Then it's gone to Henry Novak and Vickram Digwa. So I'm coming away from our community, but from this week, this is going to be the last time I talk about Henry and Vickram now. Tomorrow, as I said, I'm going to do this just whatever anyone want to ask me, or the racists can come by, whatever. Then we're going to get back to black shit, because that's what's really fucking important. It is really important for us. So thank you so much, Lee, for asking the question. Right, Dan, you'll be the last person. Dan, what would you like to ask Dan, or say, Dan?
I'm just at work, so I just came on quickly because I had the invite pop up on my phone while I was doing a bit of work. But I'm just you know, from what I heard, I haven't been on long, but what I heard then just at the end, I'm glad there's people that are sort of kicking out of the game of football and hopefully rugby as well, because it's horrible to see that. And you know, my sons are trying to get into sport, and they're from Jamaican descent, so they sort of experience that stuff, and it's just not nice. It's just horrible.
So do you say your sons?
You know, so my sons are from Jamaican descent.
Dan, this is a revelation. Don't think I don't forget about you. I remember when you came up here last time and I told you that you had internalized racism. And I don't really do that a lot on here, Dan, but you did recognize some stuff. And I know that you said that you are listening and learning. So I'm glad that you are here, and you're probably going to recognize some stuff. Yeah, the Rasta Pinky remembers you. And that's a revelation. And what did we say earlier? We literally just said, just because you have a black or brown family member doesn't mean you actually understand the depths of racism. And white people genuinely don't understand it. So that's why you need to do a lot more listening and not so much engaging, because you will learn more when you just listen. But
that's what I've realized, like, since your last conversation. But thank you. I know you do like other things. I mean, I don't know whether I'm supposed to mention it on here, but I would like to sort of do a bit more of that sort of coaching type thing and learn a bit more about it. So, I mean, I don't know whether you can send me I tried to contact you through other mediums, but I couldn't find sort of the link and things like that.
For what?
It's just
For what in particular?
For I know you do like teaching, coaching, and things like that.
No.
So
No, I'm a
no,
dominatrix. Yeah, I'm a dominatrix really mainly. So I just discipline men. That's my main thing. So if you're interested in that, I can sort you out there. But if you go to anti-racist mum, she will be the best person. Actually, she is the one that does coaching and conferences.
Right.
Yeah, anti-racist.
Just about learning more.
And dealing with the internalized racism. She focuses a lot on that, talks about the discomfort, talks about ways that you can actually look into certain behaviors that you may have, or even looking into certain events in history, etc., etc., etc. That's also part of that too. So yes, Mimi, what is it that you want to learn? How to be a dominatrix?
I said if you're offering lessons, I would take it. Because yes,
I only do. Mainly I do is actually financial domination. So I do have some teaching on my website.
That's
I have a lesson of that on my. You just Google me and you'll find it on my website of actually how to be a financial dominatrix. And actually, I always feel like financial domination is really a gateway into dominating men, because if you can dominate a man's finances, you can literally dominate anything about him. So that's how I've managed to actually learn just a lot about men in general, especially about white men. I know everything about them there is to know, because they've been my biggest clients and the most submissive. So it's been a really, really interesting education getting to know the opposite sex. But again, thank you so much everybody for being here. Thank you again to Eva. Oh, yes, Mimi.
Sorry, I wanted to come on when she was summing up. So again, thank you so much for doing this. I recognise the harm that can happen when you put your head above the parapet. So I don't take what you've said lightly.
Did you see I made it to right-wing Twitter again?
I know, the little... Yeah, okay.
The funny thing is, someone told me about it. Like, they were saying, you're trending on there. And I was like, I can't be trending on there. And then, because I'm on X, but I don't really use it. But I went there and I was like, oh, that's my face. But it's not the first time that it's happened. So I saw it and I started laughing, because again, it's all the Neanderthals just rallied together around somebody who's actually talking. I didn't even make any opinions on what I say. It's like you say something, but they're so easily triggered, these people. And again, when you read the comments, it's just the low-level Neanderthal behavior which lives on X. Let's just call her slurs. Like that's all they have. That's literally all they have. They have nothing else.
Sense. So hearing what you do, and I think I do remember that you said this, because I think that's when I started following you in the first place. It would make sense why you're doing this, because also as well, part of the radicalization process is a lot of these men are fragile own selves.
So fragile.
And it goes back to what Kovi was saying at the beginning. A lot of them have been radicalized online because they're seeking community online, because they lack those social graces in real life. And that is why when we talk about de-radicalization, it often is unfortunately moving them back into social spheres. And what concerns me though is that we are prioritizing the needs of these white men and above those of us as the collective and the community. But I think that's probably why they're so triggered by you, and your stance on not taking the nonsense when they come up as well would be triggering to them as well, because that's the playoff that they get when you look into radicalization. And there are a few videos on this on YouTube for those of you who don't like to do academic studies. There's even a cartoon one that I refer to a lot of the parents as well, which is quite good. When you look into radicalization, it is about these people feeling isolated, not knowing how to communicate, and feeling that their worldview or it's being distorted. And so one of the things I wanted to come back on was the radicalization, not just of white men, but also of black men. Because one thing I have to keep pushing back on is we as black people need to use our terms correctly. Black people cannot be racist. So we cannot use racist terms towards other black people. And if you're saying that you're using stuff back, Issa, I don't think you should phrase it as you're racist back to them, because it allows the door for them to say that you're racist too, to come back to you as well. We need to start educating ourselves and others on the language that needs to be used.
Yes.
One of the reasons for the failures of this case is because that training, that cultural competency was clearly missing from the judiciary and from the judges and from the barristers or whomever was defending and also prosecuting.
Yes.
And that's been to Vickram's disadvantage and to us as a collective as well. So when we're in these spaces, on these platforms and stuff, I need us to start using the words correctly. Racism is very specific. It is white people being racist towards black people. There's no reverse. There's none. It just doesn't work. You can try and say that there might be other systems of prejudice, but black people cannot be racist. And if you cannot understand that, you've not understood racism at its core. And I think that's one of the things that people people reject, when they're dismissive of DEI, when they're dismissive of critical race theory, it's because it's clearly laying out that this is a theoretical fault. This is a quantified term. It's not something that you can play around with. You can't look at the dictionary and all the rest of it. As a sociologist or someone who's got a degree in sociology and history, you cannot play around with a term that a social scientist has created and a system, because it plays into it as well. So when you're having these conversations, please stop misusing it, because you're not helping us by doing that. And
I think that's
if you're misusing it.
No, sorry, go on. So continue, and I'll follow up.
Oh, if you're misusing it, it lends itself open to abuse. But one of the things I'm seeing online as well is a lot of black men are being radicalized online, and they're not even understanding it. Even if you think you need to consider it from a racist point of view, that's not on you. That shouldn't be on your purview. You shouldn't have to do that, and that's part of them getting used to the labor for them, because they're not thinking, they're not considering, and you're having to be bending over backwards. So again, that needs to stop. And a lot of men, unfortunately, black men, are repeating these alt-right lines, and it's to their own detriment. And one of the things that I'm increasingly concerned with is that they're not doing the work. Yes, you can be victims of the racism as well, but you're also perpetrators of misogyny and misogynoir. So again, it is not going to be helpful. You cannot be homophobic and say that you're Pan-Africanist or you're black. Or you cannot be falling into these isms of misogyny and then saying that you want to progress your people as well, because these are symptoms, or they're facets of that white supremacist or fragility or narcissism as well. So please, I urge you, I encourage you, and do my as my therapist says, I encourage you, I invite you, and I was like, shut up. You need to do the learning, and if you're not confident with that, that's fine, but don't come onto platforms where there are active racists. These fascists know what they're doing. Okay, notice I'm using fascists, okay, because we're beyond the plain racism of just hating someone before. These guys are very clear that they want an ethno state. There is no place for black, brown, or Arabs or Asians in that ethno state. You will be wiped up and swept up too. So for a lot of you, you need to come out of this kumbaya 1990s kind of, oh, we're all in this together inclusion, and start seeing wagwan with the ting. All right, as always. Thank you so much, Fox. Okay, I'm gonna drop down now, but as always, please,
before you drop, my darling, I just want to say one thing, because I got to go and shoot off to work, but I'm not going to call you two ladies. You two are queens.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much. Because what you've done, you made a little man in a rural village recharged. Good. Thank you so much.
That's what we're supposed to do. Recharge each other as black and brown people. It's recharge each other. Don't fall down with these stupid comments or conversations like black women don't wear their hair and black men don't protect. We're like, fuck that shit. We're supposed to be about unity. It's about community. That's exactly what it's supposed to be. So that's why, my next conversations, when I come up with black topics, they're going to be specific, and they always have been about specific black unity. The first question I did ask the black community is, why do we keep going down the pitfalls? Why are you not seeing the ways that people are trying to divide us, right? So now it is going to be about the things that connect us and how we can recharge each other. So that's beautiful that you just said that, Lee. I really appreciate it.
Last thing before I go on.
You guys got to be quick. My battery is at 14%. Come on.
As an elder BLK man, younger BLK man, start being stronger, man. Come on. You're letting us down. Be strong. Listen to these ladies, these queens, all right? Everyone have a blessed day. Have a beautiful day, okay? Take care.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, last thing as well is we've got agents in the community who are showing division. We're having black men doing horrible, horrific things online to black women. That's on public spectacle. Is disgusting. I can't stress enough that part of the process is that they are weaponizing black men, and in particular racial laundering. We see Candace Owens, I've got the video on this. So you can't be coming onto platforms like this and not thinking, is this person an op? I'm not saying Fox is definitely not an op, but I'm saying that when we're consuming this stuff, we have to be careful. Fox, do your summation. I'm going to drop down because I can chat for England. Thank you so much for having me. I'll see you later.
Thank you so much always for coming, Mimi. Mimi is always so loved and respected, and I just love everything she has to say. And everybody else who has been by today, thank you so much again. And thank you, big special thanks to Eva, who again was in the courtroom for 2 whole weeks and given us some more information on how very biased the case is. The reason why I continue this topic again is because if any of us or any of your family members or any of your friends find themselves in any kind of situation where you have to deal with the justice system, just know how incredibly biased it is. Even if you do something wrong, it seems to be a situation that even if you claim self-defense, then they are already going to dismiss your case as a black and brown person. This is what we're getting at. Vickram chose wrong. In these situations, like I keep saying to people, do walk away, but also at the same time, give them what for. If it's a fist thing, go for the fist, like your men, like do that thing, right? I was even brought up a situation the other day. I was in a road rage incident, and this man got out of his car, started screaming at me, and I just sat there with my hands on the wall, and I just said, go home, go home, go home, go home, over and over again, go home. I live in a country that's not my own. I don't have the ability to challenge people in a certain way. So you do also have to look at the system that you live in. If you get into something, are you going to be able to be represented, right? This is not about turning the other cheek, okay? Because we always have to fight back. It is, yes, move accordingly. Like I said, men, you can afford to be doing this thingy. Every woman that comes up to me and says some shit, I say some shit back to her too. They'd never be able to pull one over me. Never. And actually, a lot of the time, they don't even challenge me because they know they see me and they understand you cannot fuck with me. And that's why we have to also have that same don't fuck with me attitude. It's very, very important. But please do not resort to violence that gets somebody to lose their life, because you will not win. We're seeing this happening in America right now. Claims of self-defense, years and years and years in prison. You see what's happened to Vickram right now. He's had hot sugar poured into his face already, and he's not even been in prison that long. So please do be careful out here in these streets, because again, like we see, the political climate in the UK is absolutely diabolical. In Ireland, black and brown people's houses being attacked. Scotland is now unifying in the same kind of ideology. Of course, we've had protests in England for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks on end now. Please be careful out there. I really and truly want you guys to be safe. I want you to be protected, and I want you to know about English people at the same time. Don't ever trust what they have to say, because everything just turns on a dime. So please do be careful, right? See you later, guys. Until next time. That was a big sigh I just did at the end there. But thank you, everybody. Until next time.